6 a.m. Good morning, live from the 104.5 The Zone studios. I'm Justin Hawkins. Nashville Soccer Club, they're moving on to the U.S. Open Cup semifinals after a 5-2 win over D.C. United last night at Geodis Park. Their unbeaten streak continues to 15 matches, and a second-half surge led by Sam Surridge's 2 goals powered the boys in gold to the win after being down 2-1 to start the second half. Jonathan Perez, Andy Nahar, and Walker Zimmerman also got on the score sheet for Nashville. The semifinals, they are set for September 16th, but their opponent is not set yet. Next up for Nashville is a matchup this weekend on Saturday night, first kick at 6:30 p.m. Central Time against Inter Miami FC and Lionel Messi in Fort Lauderdale. In NBA news, the Phoenix Suns have signed star guard Devin Booker to a 2-year, $145 million max contract extension that'll go through the 2029-2030 season. Booker's deal is the highest annual average salary in NBA history for an extension at $72.5 million per year. Booker has 4 All-Star appearances in his 10 NBA seasons and averaged 25.5 points, 7.1 assists, and 4.1 rebounds during the 2024-25 season last year. For our foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Thursday morning, this is Ramon and Will, fueled by Scooter's Coffee on a beautiful overcast Thursday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. 615-737-1045. We are fueled by Scooter's Coffee. Visit a locally owned location near you in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. The 11-year NFL veteran, Vol for life, Ramon Foster, present and accounted for. My name is Will Boulding. Justin Hawkins makes the show happen, and we stream it live for you on 104.5 The Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. Good morning, Ramon Foster. How are we doing?
Happy Friday, Junior, Will.
Happy Friday, Junior.
Man, you're right. It's going to be a great day outside. We were listening to Justin Hawkins, our producer's update. And we heard the Devin Booker deal again. I saw it yesterday.
And I said, huh? 2 years, $145 million max extension. We're giving Devin Booker $72.5 million per year in the year of our Lord 2025?
Yeah. With no championship, Will. With no championship.
I mean, good for Devin Booker, but
with the team who's also in the middle of a rebuild, restacking. Kevin Durant's no longer there, so Devin Booker gets $72 million, Will. That is that's a different that one check right there does it. 1 year of that check does it for 99% of the
10 minutes of that check does it for a lot of people.
I don't want to go
I'll
that
just take
far.
$1 million.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, let me just hold one, Devin.
Just hold one.
Yeah. Can I borrow $1 million for you?
And he got it to give.
Actually, you know what? I'll take the half. I'll take the half.
You take
Give me
the half or do it too.
He's
I
outpacing SGA now.
Yeah.
At 71.5.
The SGA has a championship
And he
at
has
least
a
now.
Yep.
Shea
And
Gilgeous-Alexander and an MVP.
And an MVP, right. It's
Finals
funny to me that I learn NBA news from Justin.
Why?
No disrespect to
Why?
Justin. It's just more, I was just like, huh? Like, and I commonly do that.
It came
Like
through.
when Dalton Connect originally got traded for the Lakers, I was like, what? As the sports update was playing. I'm one of the few people in America that gets their NBA news from a morning radio sports update in a non-NBA city.
That's true. That's real.
Like, oh, wow. Okay.
I got it yesterday. I think I get most breaking news. I got way too many push notifications coming to my
push
phone.
notifications. I am a sieve that keeps those from getting through most of the
I'm
time.
trying to like minimize them. That and like the I guess alerts on my page too on my phone, the red dots, whatever they are. But that was fascinating, man. We told a little joke was says like that's what NFL owners are not trying to allow. Like the way NBA players are getting paid, one is less numbers that they have to pay also, and I'm still just wondering. Even in with all that being said, with the less numbers, where do you get it from if viewership is down as much as they say it is?
Well, part of it is you only have to pay 5 starters versus 22. You don't have to pay as many players because your rosters aren't nearly as big.
That's true.
So you've got a smaller pie to split in way less ways is part of it.
And with them, and I feel like with the basketball, with NBA, they have a higher promise of getting paid too if they just happen to stay in the league. Like they don't even have to make all-stars and stuff like that. And I mentioned that, and Chet Holmgren is another guy that broke the bank this past week. What was it, about $500 million or whatever it was that he got? No.
Couldn't tell you. You're asking the wrong person.
Well, no, between him and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, think about this, the Oklahoma Thunder are in the hole of $500 million for just 2 players, Will.
So like 10 years ago when Drake had the line in one of his songs that said, "It's raining money, Oklahoma City Thunder." He was just foreshadowing for the next decade.
I mean, sometimes he was right. Battling against Kendrick Lamar, he was not. Okay?
That was when he was calling himself the most successful rapper 35 and under.
It was insane. Yeah, it was. But $285 million for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. You got a decision to make. Do you want to be an NFL quarterback or NBA player?
Or a backup NBA player.
Or backup NBA player.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Yeah, I mean, the NBA TV deal was 11 years, I think, totaling $76 billion.
Yeah.
The NFL TV deal is over $100 billion.
Nuts.
There's just a lot more pieces of the pie that have to be split up.
It is.
For basketball teams versus football teams.
It is, no doubt about it. But it's also like Chet Holmgren came into the league. He had an ankle injury, if I'm not mistaken, broke his foot or did something. And for him, I'll say this, for him to survive that at his size, at his weight too, he's long and slender, man. Like he's a very slight guy as pertains to his weight and stuff like that. But he stayed the course, man, stayed down with the team that drafted him and brought him in, and now they got a world championship behind that too again. Like I said, one of the more underwhelming championships I think that we've seen in a very long time for a city that would have crawled over glass to get one. And we don't speak high enough about it, but it's also just where we are. It's close to the football season, and nobody really cares for the most part right now.
Within 2 weeks until Tennessee Titans training camp, now we are getting closer and closer. Of course, next week is SEC Media Days, so something to capture our attention in the football front next week as well. Coming up this morning, Coach Mack joins us at 7:20. A couple more visits with him before training camp, of course, as well. Dax McCarty, former Nashville SC captain, joins us at 8:20 in his first season as an MLS Apple TV analyst and crushing it. Looking forward to talking about the boys in gold with him at 8:20. And then the best logos in sports, or just best, actually, all I said was best logos.
Yeah.
Because in sports is kind of a vague term. I mean, you could have a very popular ad logo be a very popular sports logo. So best logos coming up at 9:20 this morning.
No doubt about it. I'm looking forward to this one, Will. It gets spicy. When we start doing stuff like that, especially if you do like best jerseys, like those are the ones too. I know the, the Philly green color that the Eagles wear. Like
we
everybody
did that 2 years ago.
Loves that color.
Best throwback jerseys. We'll do best logos, best sports logos draft this morning.
The Titans Oilers jersey gets a lot of play too, Will, by the way. People love that. Like Titans fans, like fashion, like they're like sports fashion people that love jerseys like myself and stuff.
I was
like
one
that.
in high school.
Yeah, man. Like they love the old school Oilers, like old Derek's jerseys, man. Pretty sweet. Pretty sweet, by the way.
I like it. Not a ton of NFL headlines this morning. The local headline was last night at Geodis Park. Once again, 5-2, Nashville SC getting the win over DC United. Sam Surridge with 2 goals. Andy Nahar with a golazo, as we call it, Ramon, from outside the box. Nashville was down 2-0 in this game. They score 5 unanswered. They are into the semifinals of the U.S. Open Cup, which will be played in September against the winner of Philadelphia Union and New York Red Bulls, 2 teams who were supposed to play last night and then were postponed due to lightning and weather up there in Harrison, New Jersey. Big time stuff for Nashville SC now. 15 matches unbeaten as they face Lionel Messi and Miami this Saturday.
Riddle me something. Well, that's going to be crazy right there. Hopefully Nashville gets them, man. And again, the hate that they had for Messi when he came here, in a sports way, probably personal too, but either way, riddle me something real quick. After any goal, is there always a big celebration because it's so hard in soccer? It is, usually.
It's like scoring a touchdown.
Okay, all right.
It's just picture just what it's like in a stadium and on the field for a touchdown. That's exactly what it's like.
Okay, all right, for sure. That makes sense. So you're like, I know it's a hard task to do because there's so many bodies in front of you to try to score. And then the accuracy of also kicking it into the net, even though I'm still lobbying for the first kick of the Nashville SC game.
Okay.
I do acknowledge, like, the celebrations behind it are warranted. And it's kind of cool to see, too, because, again, I think sometimes people try to dead people's celebration of how they really go about being in their sport. NFL a few years back didn't want celebrations in the end zone. Why? Come on, y'all. Like, it's sports. You're supposed to have fun and enjoy your big moments.
First time that Nashville has had a 2-goal comeback win since May 11th, 2022, on an extra time win in the U.S. Open Cup over Atlanta United. And they, last night, for the 5th straight time, got a result after conceding the opening goal, which is pretty impressive. That's something that is not commonly done, where you give up the first goal, then you come back to either win or draw 5 straight times. They did it against Atlanta, did it against Charlotte, Orlando, New England on the road, and then now D.C. to make the semifinal. It was very fun.
Yeah.
It was very fun. Atmosphere was good. 21,000 people in that building for a Wednesday night U.S. Open Cup game.
No doubt.
And that's probably doesn't mean much to people listening this morning. That is a big deal to have 20,000 people at a U.S. Open Cup game. That wasn't an MLS game last night.
How good is Sam Surge cooking right now, though?
He is in incredible form. That guy is on fire.
Yeah.
Not just scoring goals, too, contributing so much to this team. It is everything that we hoped and a lot more when he came to town a couple of years ago.
It's okay, so going to Miami this weekend, is Miami just that good also? Are they as hot as...
At their best, they are the best team in the league still.
Okay.
They're the most talented roster because they have 4 guys who represented Barcelona on their roster, and Sergio Busquets, Jordi Alba, Luis Suarez, and, of course, Messi, who is a little detailed thrown on the end of there. But they really do give up a lot of goals, though.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Oh.
They have given up a good amount of goals this season.
So they're like Cincinnati's defense.
They are never, no, because this team's actually good overall. They are still better on offense to outweigh it. They've played 3 less games than Nashville in league play, and they still have the best attack in Eastern Conference.
Okay.
The thing that's crazy about Miami is teams that score 1 goal against them, including New England Revolution last night, are 0-7-0. Miami, when they allow just 1 goal, is 7-0-0.
Okay.
So that is the crazy part. If you get 1 goal, you got to get a second against these guys.
So that's the challenge moving forward then. For Miami
against Miami.
This weekend.
Yeah, it's just that for them, it's limiting it to 1 goal.
Come on, Sam. Got to stay hot, baby.
That's right.
Got to stay hot.
We'll talk about that with Dax McCarty coming up at 8:20, former Nashville SC captain, MLS, Apple TV analyst. Looking forward to catching up with him coming up in a couple of hours this morning. But when we come back, Josh Heupel in Tennessee stayed hot on the recruiting trail. Ramon, I think there is a challenge, though, for Tennessee football this year. I think the pressure is going up with how good this class can be. And I've got a past example to prove why. We'll talk about that coming up next. Thursday morning, Ramon and Will, fueled by Scooters Coffee right here at 104.5 The Zone. F&M Bank Chat open this morning. Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch, where you can jump in. 615-737-1045, where you can make your voice be heard. Joel Combe, Ramon Foster, is the newest Tennessee Vols commit in the class of 2026. Another Kell High School product in Marietta, Georgia.
Yeah.
And there is some intel out there from Steve Wiltfong of On3 and Rivals that Tennessee could be pushing for a top 5 class. How optimistic are you about Tennessee recruiting, how hot they are in the recruiting trail right now, and how much, Ramon, does this move the needle for you? Why is this significant that Tennessee is adding so many commitments and is now up to 20 this time of year?
Because the Jimmys and Joes matter. I think it's all, at the end of the day, to me, that's how you go and seek championships. And also getting 20 commitments this turnaround, too, I think it puts the NCAA allegations behind you a little bit more from where they were taking scholarships away. I think that plays a part in it. But it's not just that. Getting guys to buy into what your offense is, what your defense is, and to be quite honest with you, when you're battling Texas, Alabama, LSU, Georgia, Florida, getting your guys, not just that, but also high caliber guys will mean a lot, man. It's sustainable because when you look at what the fan base is, our fan base, the Vols fan base, like it's very like knowledgeable about this type of stuff. And when you're recruiting at the rate that they are, you keep that noise low. And when you keep the noise low, you get the opportunity to work the way you want to, Will. But again, to me, I think the brand matters a ton. It's been a while since Tennessee's won a championship. And I think if you continue to recruit the way they are and potentially get a top 5 class,
sure,
that keeps you in the conversation of continually knocking at the college football playoffs to keep the product great. Like, you want to be able to go from Nick Saban to Kellen DeBoer. Like, that's what you want, right? Or, to be quite honest with you, Mark Rich to what's his name
Kirby Smart.
now? Kirby Smart. Like, that's what you want, is to continual elevation of your program, because it is a arms race in all of college football right now.
It is, and it is the only sport that has pretty much a direct one-to-one correlation between talent acquisition, like recruiting, and success.
Yes.
You can be so-so in the draft in the NFL, yet crush it in free agency and development of undrafted players and still win championships.
Yeah.
You can be great in the draft, but sign some duds in free agency and get half of the roster acquisition periods right and still win. In college football, if you do not recruit in the top 10 consistently, you're just not going to compete for national championships. It's just not going to happen. The only caveat to that is you have a generational transcendent quarterback that can make a bunch of 3 and 4 stars look like 4 and 5 stars.
No doubt.
For Tennessee this year, that's not happening. With all due respect to Joey Aguilar, he is not there to be a major elevator of everything and carry you into the distance. Like, Joey Aguilar is going to be, I think, decent, but he is not coming in with the level of expectations that Nico did in that way.
No doubt.
So I think the thing now with Tennessee, Ramon, is this. Everyone gets hot in recruiting in July because you have a wave of high school players who want to commit before their senior seasons. So it's, to me, less about, hey, Tennessee is doing something totally different and Tennessee has rewritten its playbook to get all these recruits. Maybe they've done some things differently. Maybe they have gotten hot for some good reasons. But to me, at the end of the day, this is just when kind of most teams get hot in recruiting. I mean, Alabama is, I think, had 4 or 5 stars since the end of June that they've added.
Yeah.
What I think back to is 2021 for Tennessee, and that is why I'm tempering my expectations just a little bit. Here's my thing about this season now for Tennessee, Ramon. Josh Heupel's got to keep these guys. And the way you keep these guys is not going 6-6 this year.
That's true.
Steve Wiltfong wrote it on 3.com. We're going to get into some of these notes about 5-star guys that Tennessee is in a really good spot with. According to Steve Wiltfong, it's between Tennessee and Texas A&M for Tristan Keys, the LSU commitment of wide receiver, the number 1 wide receiver in the country, 5-star. How good do you think Tennessee is going to have to be to keep him, even if he does commit before his senior season?
Man, I have to show. Because here's the other part of it, though, too. Like, during the season, players watch and see what the potential of the team is going to look like. If I know I'm running, you've run on the treadmill before, Will, and you get on and it's already got the pace going for you, you just hop on and go, like running intervals and stuff like that. That's what you want as a recruit. You don't want to go in and expect the coaches to be quite honest with you after a bad season, to be drill sergeants, to just be jerks about everything. There's added pressure to the idea that, oh, look, this freshman class got to come in and save, but just that, it leaves more questions. And also something I brought up with Matt Ray the other day, the idea that teams will recruit negatively, especially if they beat you in the SEC with the same guys that you are competing against. Like, I know Tennessee's not playing A&M this year, but the LSU and A&M crowd is going to be recruiting negative if Tennessee try to go get a guy like Tristan Keys. Like, that plays a part, especially if with the transfers at LSU specifically have gotten at wide receiver, if they shine, it makes it hard to go get guys or be able to retain your guys if you're giving up tons of yards like this linebacker class. If you're giving up a ton of yards in the run game, like some may look at it and say, well, the scheme probably is not that good as I thought it was.
I think there is pressure on Josh Heupel in Tennessee to avoid the floor really dropping significantly this season of this program. Last season, we saw what the ceiling has looked like under Josh Heupel. They go 10-2, they make the playoff, they lose to Ohio State, they go 10-3. Solid season. Expectations were met. What are the expectations now for Josh Heupel with Joey Aguilar at quarterback and no more Nico Imaliava?
With Joey Aguilar at quarterback?
I mean, the Vegas win total, I believe, is 8.5 for this team.
Well, I say if you competitively beat one of the three, if you can get two of those guys, and I know it's going to be hard with Georgia and Alabama, but if you get Florida for sure, I think that's the tip of the cap and say, look, we lost our franchise quarterback basically in the spring, and this is what we're left with. 7 wins has to happen this year. You can't go 6. You can't get embarrassed also on one of these primetime games either. Because to me, the optics of having pride, I ain't going to lie to you, the optics of having pride in your school when you can walk into school on a Monday morning as a high schooler and say, yeah, we beat this team. Yes, we look good. And not to have those meanie kids come into you like, your team lost this weekend, huh? You sure you want to go to Knoxville? Like, so it's not necessarily about. It is about the wins and losses.
Yeah, it is. In a major way, it always
because, is. And then there's no excuse for it, too, because you're supposed to be the offensive guru that gets your quarterbacks ready, and the offense has to look competent.
Yeah.
You can't go out there and I'll be quite honest with you, you can't go out there and look like Ohio State all over again. That hurts you.
Right. To me, Ramon, I think it's going to be a hard proposition for Josh Heupel to sign a top 5 recruiting class and be any worse than 9-3 this year.
9-3?
For top 5 recruiting class?
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about Ohio State, Texas, Georgia, Alabama, Michigan, USC, who's number 2, I believe, or number 1 right now in their recruiting class for the class of 2026. Yeah, USC is the number 1, has the number 1 class of the country right now.
Yeah.
Texas A&M is in the top 3. Notre Dame is right there. Like, you are in rarefied air when you talk about battling for a top 5 recruiting class of the country, because the teams you are battling with, down years for them are 10-2.
Mm-hmm. This is true.
That was your best year in a long time. Again, 2022 and, of course, 2024. So I think back to 2021, Ramon, and I don't think Tennessee is going to be as bad this year as it was in 2020, when Tennessee goes 3-7 in the pandemic season, and then all of these guys decommitted. But
you got to think, Hyper's a whole lot more competent than what Jeremy Pruitt was.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. So while I'm going to compare these classes to say it ain't over till it's over, Josh Heupel is not Jeremy Pruitt. Do not hear me say that. Bro. However, on April 26th, over a 9-day span in the spring of 2020, Tennessee got commitments from 2 5-stars, Terrence Lewis and Dylan Brooks. Neither made campus. Wow. 4-stars, Cody Brown, Julian Nixon, Kamara Wilcoxon, Colby Smith, and number 1 JUCO running back Tyon Smith. Ramon, how many of those guys contributed in a Tennessee jersey? None of them.
None.
Absolutely none of them. 3-star athlete Deshaun Rucker was also committed to Tennessee during that time. He at least was on the roster for a little bit there. So I bring that up to say that, no, Jeremy Pruitt and Josh Heupel are not the same. The floor of this Tennessee team, though, is a lot lower than it was last year. And if your floor, let's say, Ramon, the worst case scenario for Tennessee this year is 5-7, it's going to be hard to have a top 10 recruiting class at 5-7.
No doubt about it.
There is pressure on Josh Heupel and Joey Aguilar this year. And the Nico stuff, you can talk about how Josh Heupel put his foot down and made the right call and established a culture. All that is fine and good. That doesn't help you in November against Florida. That doesn't make a loss at home to somebody that's not expected feel any better in the moment. I think there's a lot of pressure on Josh Heupel this year to keep this class together and keep the ship afloat this season, because everything points towards 2026 for Tennessee with a new quarterback who will likely be starting at that point unless George McIntyre or Jake Merklinger take over the starting job this year. You bring in Faison Brandon. You feel like you've got a good recruiting class. You feel like you've got older skill position players who are going into their sophomore seasons this year. Clearly, Ramon, they really like this freshman class, and they're going to play a lot this season. So you have a freshman class that, A, is going to be sophomores that's playing a lot this year, but also might stay together because they already have playing time in Knoxville. Everything points towards 2026 being a contention season and 25 being a setup season, to me, for Tennessee.
No doubt. Looking at this class, I know I wasn't following as much as I probably should have, like in 2021. This class did not contribute. The high school guys. I will say this.
And two, when a coach leaves, you have, like, half the guys leave.
Yeah, no doubt. Like, but like the portal definitely contributed big time. That's Hendon Hooker. That's Joe Milton's class right there. Yeah. That's Kamal Haddon. Like, they did what they were supposed to. But the high school side of it, I think, is the most important side of it, because that's how you, for the most part, bring in a lot of bodies, get those guys in, and create and solidify your foundation as it pertains to why this is important for Josh Heupel to close out this class. Now, the one thing I think that will save Heupel in this class is if there is a quarterback change. If you look at that and you say if George is in, right, if Merklinger is in, I think it's the same thing you get for coaches at a certain time. When you make the quarterback change, it saves you, it gives you more grace through that losing if they do lose. But here's the other side of it, though. How excusable is it for Heupel to win 5 games this year?
Exactly.
That to me, now, of course, I think I'm looking at the schedule. I
don't think that's going to happen.
Of course. But, like,
we're talking about absolute worst case scenario.
No doubt about that. Right. If the offense falls apart, the O-line can get it together, because those are questions. You got a freshman starting at right tackle potentially this year. Yeah. That's almost out of position.
Not potentially. I mean, definitely.
Exactly.
David Sanders is starting right tackle.
He is the right tackle. Yeah. But you have to throw him into the SEC. Now, he's supposed to stand up because he's a 5-star guy. Now, looking at the way this thing is shaping up, one thing I will say about this class is almost every person that's committed to the Vols has mentioned more than anything the relationships and how they recruited them, how early they got in on them.
And I think that's key as well. I think this is a relationship building, and in that way, old school class or old school coaching staff when it comes to recruiting.
And the way I've read the articles on how these guys have committed, most of them have said, I ain't going to say most of them because it can probably be lying too. Mm-hmm. But the money side of it wasn't the forefront of the conversation that they had every single time. Now, I know that's a huge play in it. They send them off to somebody else probably to have those discussions later. But it seems to me the way they're recruiting, it is very defense heavy, I feel like, for the most part in this class, other than a guy like Faison Brandon and a few other offensive guys. And I think that's got to be the focus with this class until you start to get your quarterbacks that you can sell for the future and see how they look like for this offense even more. So I expect next year's class, the next recruiting cycle, to be heavy offensive. Well, it has to be. Because, again, when you look at how this team has sustained and the brand that it is right now, I will say, with the idea of what Heupel is as a quarterback coach and the offensive play caller, the calling card has been defense for the last couple of years, and they are killing it right now. Coach William Inge has to be the happiest man in all SEC as it pertains to what's coming into his room soon.
Sure. For perspective on just how good Tennessee's incoming linebackers are, when you talk about Braden Rouse, the guy that commits the other day, and the other linebacker that Tennessee has committed for the class of 2026 in TJ White from Jackson Academy in Mississippi. According to On3, those are 2 of the top 10 linebackers in the country. TJ White, number 5, Braden Rouse, number 10. I think 247's got Rouse as number 7.
And 5, yeah.
The class of 2021, Ramon, are the guys who even just signed for Tennessee.
Don't do it.
The best player in Tennessee's 2021 recruiting class was the number 7 linebacker in the country, Aaron Willis. Aaron Willis did nothing for Tennessee.
Not a thing.
Ended up transferring quickly.
Not a thing.
So that is the thing with Josh Heupel in Tennessee is you have to avoid this class being picked apart by your floor being hit. I mean, 2021, again, Jeremy Pruitt getting fired. Maybe if he doesn't get fired, A, I think Tennessee might have gotten Ty Simpson. B, maybe he keeps some of those guys together. So it's not a total one-to-one comparison again. But the best players, Ramon, in that 2021 recruiting class, Aaron Willis, Caden Salter, who ended up being good, just not for Tennessee, Cayman Marley, third highest ranked in that class. No.
I ain't got a clue.
Christian Charles, rotational DB. Jalen Wright. All right, that one worked.
That did work out.
Walker Merrill.
It worked.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Did
No, it didn't.
For a 4-star athlete or 3-star athlete.
Went to Wake.
Yep.
He transferred out.
With all due
too.
respect to Walker, who I think was just kind of behind a lot of good receivers.
Yeah.
Julian Nixon. No. William Parker from Procone, tackle.
I don't think he made it to campus.
He ended up moving to UAB.
Yeah.
Transferring. That's what you got to avoid this year. I mean, that class was 23rd in the country. Tennessee's floor maybe is a recruiting class with a 5-star quarterback because Faison Brandon feels very solidly committed within all of this. I mean, the floor for Tennessee's entire class is probably 15 to 20, maybe if this thing really went south this year. But that is what I think the really key story is going to be this season. How good do you have to be to keep together this really good class and potentially battle for a top 5 class? So Steve Wiltfong wrote about this at on3.com yesterday. Ramon says the intel on Tristan Keys is right now is between Tennessee and A&M, the two schools that are best positioned. You've got J.B. Shabazz, who is a top 10 tackle in the country. He is set to commit on Friday. Tennessee expected to get him. Joel Wyatt. Steve Wiltfong writing about the Webb bell-buckle product, saying Tennessee is the prediction for him as Vandy and Louisville are looking to get back in the mix for them. Mm-hmm. It is really, really fascinating just how Tennessee has done this because Tennessee is going to be in the top 10 in this class before the season starts.
And the thing to your point that worries you a whole lot is with the mess that happened earlier this spring for this type of momentum to be happening like this. Like I do wonder now, I will say this, I saw a little bit how the recruiting weekends goes. Well, it is a good time is what I will tell you.
I don't doubt it. For
the parents, for the families, for the kids, it's a good time. The players that came around, they were more personable than I thought they were, than I thought they give off to. It was a good time. Now, to your point, though, that's all fine and dandy. You mentioned this earlier. I think we talked about it in the spring, too. Are you willing to forgive if this is a 7-5 season? And that's where it plays a part in the recruits. Like, I know we've
right.
mentioned this.
Right.
But, again, these are high school athletes that can change and transfer out at the drop of a dime. And not only just that, you got to look at the idea of who you got to retain after this year. So with the way that 21 recruiting class shaped up, well, in the end, what I will say is this. A lot of credit got to be given to the collective because to be able to keep that team together, to be able to have a 2022 season the way they did says a whole lot. And I'm hoping with the way this revenue sharing is going to move forward, too, it kind of evens the ground a little bit. And we're not having conversations the way Auburn is having about their recruiting class, which is sticky. Now, that's where it can get crazy again, though, too, is because
it changes fast.
You have a team like Auburn who's struggling right now to recruit.
That's right.
But what if they have a season that really is a lot of momentum? Then you find guys looking at them, visiting them, and next thing you know, they flipped on you.
Auburn right now is the number 71 recruiting class in the country.
Love that for all.
Nine commitments for the class of 2026.
Only 9. Let me not say that because, again, teams get hot during the season.
Well,
like
the weird thing is, I mean, they had the 8th best class for 25.
They did?
They had a better class than Tennessee. Yeah. I mean, that is what has kept Hugh Freeze off of a really, really hot seat is he has recruited high schoolers well. And for whatever reason, for the class of 2026 so far, it has not worked.
Some people just don't like Hugh Freeze, too.
True.
That is that side of it.
High school recruits often do, but a lot of adults don't.
I think also this prediction of JB Shabazz is also foreshadowing my guy Darius Gray a little bit. I saw him Wiltfong's write-up.
Steve Wiltfong saying Darius Gray, the 5-star lineman, has favorites of LSU and South Carolina at the moment.
And he's a Carolina kid, too. So I get that one. I do want to see how Vols are going to back in that one. for a guy like Darius Gray, because that could mean a lot if you get that offensive line set. If they can recruit the bigs the way they need to, I feel a whole lot better about what the offense can turn into moving forward after this year. And not just that, too, I'm a firm believer that you got to have a running back in college and you got to have some bigs on the defensive line and offensive line. And right now, that is something they got to continue to crush moving forward, because I think there's one thing that Georgia has shown us. If you want to win, you better go get the biggest of the big that know how to play physical football.
It's just such a trump card. It's such a trump card even against just Tennessee's style of offense. If you can disrupt the timing of what the quarterback can see and facilitate and just win up front consistently. SEC football games are won in the trenches.
Yes.
Tennessee is starting to recruit much, much better in the trenches. And remains to be seen what that'll mean for this class when the ink is dry on the dotted lines. But interesting. We'll see. Tennessee is racking them up. 20 more commits. Looks like it'll probably be 21 by the end of the week. And now it's on Josh Heupel to keep them.
If they can close Tristan Keys, and I'll take Savion Hyder. Those two.
Yeah, you said that. Like,
those.
I'll take him.
But like
5-star running back. I'll take
Tennessee's in the top 2 for Hyder too. That's the other side of it. Is like you're in the mix. Close it out, and I think it has to do with the season.
This could be a top 5 recruiting class if they meet more of their ceiling versus their floor on the field this year.
I did say that like it was some old jeans. Like, I'll take them.
Yeah, that's right.
No, he's no old jeans.
Fine. This 5-star running back will do. 615-737-1045. ESPN's Matt Bowen, Ramon, putting together a Team USA flag football team. There is one addition to this that I was shocked by but loved. We'll talk about that next. Ramona Will is fueled by Scooter's Coffee on 104.5 The Zone, and it is not a trash talk Friday like 3HL has, but I guess Penny Hardaway was in the mood yesterday. You'll hear what he had to say going after Tennessee a little bit coming up to begin hour number 2. 615-737-1045, the number. Ramon, Matt Bowen of ESPN is building the best 2028 Olympic flag football roster. I want to go through these position by position and see what you think.
Yeah.
See if you're in agreement.
By the way, I think every youth should play flag football, by the way, too. It's such a great game, too. Just to get you familiarized with the sport and how to compete. I loved coaching it, Will.
You just aged yourself 10 years saying every youth. All you youths out there, make sure you get a flag and a football.
I've been watching my cousin Vinny, man.
Fair enough. So at quarterback, Matt Bowen has Jaden Daniels for the U.S. Olympic team.
Yes. Him or Kyler Murray would do it for me.
Jaden will be 27 at the time of the 2028 Olympics.
Okay. Yeah, I take that one for sure. He's an athlete. Well, he's a thin guy. He's fast. He's an athlete. He's the perfect, to me, in the NFL. At that age, at 2028, Lamar be in his 30s, if I'm not mistaken. Give me Jaden.
Hopefully the Mahomes reign of terror is over by that point. Running back, Jahmyr Gibbs. X factor due to his versatility. Matt Bowen saying he could play a hybrid role as a running back / motion movement target in the pass game. There's no blocking in flag football, so it doesn't matter blocking ability for your running back.
Nope.
I feel like Jahmyr Gibbs is the runaway option.
He's the easiest solution to me. I would say, because I think that high of his athleticism, but I say Cheetah. With most definitely Tyreek Hill in that conversation.
At
but
running back?
He's mid-30s. Oh, heck yeah. You can move anybody around. We in motion with him.
You have to separate him and Noah Lyles at the opening ceremonies. But
yeah, that is very true, too. No, you can't give Tyreek that then because he'd also say he's an Olympic athlete.
Yeah, exactly.
That's true.
Have the rings on.
Can't have Tyreek.
He'd have the rings set it up by the end of the hour after being named, which honestly I would too, so respect.
Yeah, for sure.
2 wide receivers, Justin Jefferson and Jeremiah Smith, Ohio State.
Oh, yes.
Because at that point, I mean, again, talk about he's eligible to be drafted in 27.
Yeah.
He'll be a second-year guy, summer of 28, going into his second season. Yeah, absolutely.
Him or Devontae Smith.
Fair?
Either, yes.
Fair? If you can't get hit.
No doubt. If Jettas don't want to play, definitely give me Devontae.
So fields are only 50 yards. 10-yard end zones are obviously the same as NFL play. The reasoning for Jeremiah Smith for Matt Bowen is a boundary X who can win on deep balls and be a priority target as the team crosses midfield.
Yeah.
Just a deep ball threat.
Easily. He's my go-to guy. Basically, in that offense, he's the go-to guy.
How good would he be as an NFL receiver today? Jeremiah Smith.
I think he's easily somebody's number one. At that position, at his skill set and his maturity and body type.
Could Jeremiah Smith literally walk on the Titans roster this year and be the number one receiver?
I would absolutely say so. And that's no disrespect to Calvin, but yes, I'm taking Jeremiah Smith right now.
This guy's one of one. They don't come around very often like him.
Are you willing to lose a lot of games for him? A lot of teams are going to say yes, Will. 100. Besides whoever comes out in that class with him at quarterback, top 3. The floor for him?
Yeah. No, he's
easily.
Barring injury, he is a special talent. At center, Matt Bowen has Jamar Chase because the center can run routes.
Give me a tight end on that one. Laporta, maybe?
Yeah, I'd say Sam Laporta. Yeah. If you have to pick a tight end to play center.
Because they need a comeback catch guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that would be him.
Maybe flag football is what we need to unlock Kyle Pitts as a tight end.
See, now you talking.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, now you really thinking, Will.
As essentially just like a huge wide receiver.
Yeah, and that's the thing about it. Like, I used to select like offensive linemen for my flag football team.
Mm-hmm.
I should have been picking tight end types.
That's right.
No disrespect to my kids.
At rusher, Micah Parsons. I feel like Micah Parsons is the runaway answer there. Defense. As fast as he is a guy that could be a hybrid safety if you really wanted him to be.
Yeah, Abdul Carter.
Abdul Carter would be the other one, yeah.
Kyle Hamilton.
Just pick someone who's worn 11 for Penn State.
That's the one.
One of those guys.
Yeah, no doubt.
And then at DB, Pat Surtain is who Matt Bowen has, saying there is no contact in flag football, so that eliminates the ability to play press coverage and just jam someone at the line. So you need the longest limbed corner you can find.
And that's him.
Pat Surtain is that.
No doubt. Sauce.
Yeah, Sauce Gardner be an option.
Sauce is an option.
He's got
too.
the alternate as Derek Stingley Jr.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes, absolutely.
I mean, half this team was just LSU people.
That's what I was just thinking.
You
like,
could put together an LSU flag football team. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Derek Stingley Jr.
Stingley Jr.
Your edge rusher would be, it's where it starts to break down a little bit. You're either going Caleb Chason or Arden Key, probably.
Dallas Turner's an Alabama guy.
Yep.
Alabama.
Very much so.
They hadn't really pushed
Honestly,
anybody
Clyde
out.
Edwards-Helaire would be a decent running back for flag football.
Is he even in the league right now? I thought he was out last year.
That's a good
I thought
question.
he was out last year. Oh, you know who's another dog that you could have a wide receiver?
Who's that?
Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yeah?
But at his age, at that point, though, who do you want? I'm surprised you didn't mention, man. I mentioned Laporta. You a dog for not mentioning this dude I'm going to drop.
Okay.
Brock Bowers. Your center.
Fair.
Combat catch.
Yep.
Breakaway speed when you need it.
That's fair.
Deceiving when it comes down to his ability to catch the football, too. Definitely Brock Bowers is in that conversation.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire is a New Orleans Saint.
I'm actually surprised by that, to be quite honest.
It's so funny. That's just what LSU players do when they're leaving their number one destination as an NFL player. Yeah. They just go to New Orleans. They just join the Saints. That fan base is one and the same, LSU and Saints fans.
And the fans love it, too.
That's right.
That's what's wild
Absolutely
about
right.
it.
So, yeah, there you go. Team USA. Solid.
I think it's going to be a good squad, though. It's going to be fascinating to see which quarterbacks, if they do get a professional one, will actually play. Jaden Daniels.
They've got to.
It makes the most sense.
The face of this will be whoever the quarterback is, and it's going to be marketed out for years in advance.
Yeah.
For sure.
And they got to do the right. They got to win it, for sure. CeeDee Lamb is in the conversation. I want on the team, too.
Sure.
Jeez. Any Titan makes this team.
Ask me in 2027.
It could be
As of
Cam.
right now, I mean, yeah, Cam Ward is the perfect prototype to be really good at flag football.
It could be Cam. But that's the question. Is Cam a pocket guy? Is he a dual threat?
Somewhere in between.
Somewhere in between.
Improviser.
If you're picking the team real quick, you want a dual threat or you want a pocket passer?
Dual threat.
Okay, all right.
Yep.
Just want to make sure who you trying to win with.
615-737-1045. Penny Hardaway took a little shot at Tennessee basketball yesterday, and we'll give you our reaction coming up next.
It is 7:01. Good morning, live from the 104.5 The Zone studios. I'm Justin Hawkins. Nashville Soccer Club is moving on to the U.S. Open Cup semifinals after a 5-2 win over DC United last night at Geodis Park. The unbeaten streak continues to 15 matches, and it took a second-half surge led by Sam Surge. 2 goals powered the boys in goal to the win after being down 2-1 to start the second half. Jonathan Perez, Andy Nahar, and Walker Zimmerman also got on the score sheet for Nashville. The semifinals are set for September 16th, and they'll face the winner of Philadelphia Union and the New York Red Bulls. Next up for Nashville is a matchup against Lionel Messi and Inter Miami FC in Fort Lauderdale Saturday night with first kick at 6:30 p.m. Central Time. In NBA news yesterday, the Phoenix Suns have signed star guard Devin Booker to a 2-year, $145 million max contract extension that'll go through the 2029-2030 season. Booker's deal is the highest annual average salary in NBA history for an extension at $72.5 million per year, passing SGA's Oklahoma City. Booker has 4 All-Star appearances in his 10 NBA seasons. He averaged 25.5 points, 7.1 assists, and 4.1 rebounds during the 2024-25 season last year. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Thursday morning on a Moan and Will is fueled by Scooters Coffee, 104.5 The Zone. He is the Vol Network color analyst on the Vol Network around, obviously, Nashville, 104.5 The Zone, and around the South, Ramon Foster. Justin Hawkins, our producer. I'm Will Bowling. Coach Max set to join us in 15 minutes. Ramon, usually when Penny Hardaway opens his mouth, bad things happen.
Yeah.
So naturally, a bad thing happened yesterday. Talking to a group of donors, the head basketball coach at Memphis had this to say.
It's tough because we want to play some other teams that just want master schedule, but the teams that want to play us, we want to play them. So my relationships with guys, the games that we exactly. But there would be another good one to get the UT rivalry going again.
Penny Hardaway saying, if you couldn't hear that clearly enough, saying it's tough because we want to play some teams, but the teams that want to play us, we want to play them. A fan of the crowd yells, UT. He goes, yeah, exactly. Ramon, your thoughts?
My thoughts is, Penny, be careful what you ask for. Okay? All right. The last time we were slated to play, there was a debacle, I guess, here at Bridgestone when you had to cancel. Like, that is something that I think the state would absolutely crave. You want to talk about a hot ticket? It's there for the taking. Now, it's a matter of, do you really think that you're going to match up against this team? Because it could turn into an embarrassment. Like, you ask for Big Dog to come out, and it may get ugly. Like, I love Penny and what he is. That's the thing about, like guys who are greats. They never see flaws. They never see faults. They always believe they're going to win. But sometimes maybe you're not equipped in this situation. And I feel like this is one of those situations right here with Penny. You might want to be careful barking up this tree because Coach Barnes might come and take one of your high-caliber players, too, after beating you, like Tony V will.
I would love for Tennessee and Memphis to play each other. I just don't think it needs to happen until Memphis is run by someone who commonly acts like an adult.
Just with his trash talking from here and there?
Well, I mean, after the game in 2019, well, it would have been December 2018, a couple of weeks before the new year in 2019, after a couple of guys, quote unquote, balled their fists up, and Penny Hardaway thought the Tennessee basketball players were trying to fight because his team got punked and gave up 100 points to the Balls on their home floor in FedEx Forum. Talk about how Rick Barnes is low class.
Yeah.
That was strike 2. Because strike 1 was the way Memphis treated Tubby Smith on the way out and replaced Tubby with Penny.
Yeah.
People of that generation of college basketball coaches stick together. Tubby Smith and Rick Barnes as friends.
Yeah.
I think that was strike 1 against Memphis. And I think strike 3 was probably the way the game during COVID got canceled over at Bridgestone Arena as fans were entering the arena.
I was on my way.
To say, oh, actually, never mind. I was on my way, too. I was walking down to the arena when I lived downtown. I was walking down there. Strike 3, Memphis. You don't get the luxury of playing Tennessee anymore. And that's the thing is that for right now, where these two programs are situated in college basketball, Tennessee is taking a step down to play Memphis. They are doing Memphis a favor. They are giving Memphis recruiting ammo to say, oh, we went toe-to-toe with mighty Tennessee. But like you said, I'd be careful what I wished for.
No doubt about it. And here's the thing, too. Penny is Memphis all the way through and through. I think the trash talking that he threw out last night, it was probably the Memphis versus Knoxville, or it was Memphis versus UT8. And I know that's very rich, too. I got a lot of people that went to Knoxville, and there were also Memphis State fans, too. Like, there's a divide there the way it is between Memphis and Nashville. So the basketball teams being in the middle of this, to me, I'll also say this, too. He's got to say this. He's got to stoke the fire a little bit. He's got to throw some gas on it because, again, Memphis is in a division where they start off well and then they fizzle out late, too. That's the way they've been, I felt like, this last year and the year before that. Like, he's got the guys that he wants to be able to compete. But I do, to your point, think this. There's a different level on where he's trash talking right now. And, again, they're making moves. They uploaded a lot of people off of his staff. They're reshaping what it is. And I'll say this, too. I think Penny's under a little bit more pressure than he ever thought he would be at Memphis. Penny Collins, TSU's basketball coach, he went to the Grizzlies on that one. But, like, when you look at what Memphis basketball is as far as the importance to the city, the Grizzlies and what they mean, this is, I feel like, the next phase for Penny to save what's left of his, I guess, his legend there and also just his reputation. Playing Tennessee would do a lot for him to say, yeah, we battle, or add more mystery to the idea that they can compete with the Vols. I personally don't think it's a conversation right now, though. Would I want to see it? Yes. Do I think it's good for the Vols? No, because I look at that one again and say it'll probably be more physical than you want it to be in a regular basketball game.
As long as Penny Hardaway and Rick Barnes are the coaches of their respective programs in this rivalry, this game is just not going to be played.
I'm not mad at it.
It's just not going to happen. Not going to happen.
I'm not mad at the idea of him saying that. He's supposed to, but I can't see it getting on the docket anytime soon.
I mean, what does Tennessee have to gain from this anymore?
Right now, nothing.
Other than letting their Memphis area fans see them play in person if you did a home and home. Like, to me, I almost feel like the way these two programs are currently situated in college basketball, it's the same thing we're talking about with college football. If Tennessee played Memphis in football, Tennessee would have everything to lose and nothing to gain because you are expected to handle an inferior program. But what happens that one time they come up and get you? Major recruiting ammo for them in the state of Tennessee and in their city that you already have yourself. Like, Tennessee's already winning recruiting battles in Memphis for really good football players. They don't need to go play a game in Memphis to show the local talent there how good they are in person. They already know. Yeah. Like, Radarius Jackson gets to Tennessee because he already knows how good Tennessee is, not because Tennessee had to go play Memphis, right? Like, Memphis is not important enough as a football program to move the needle in that way. But if you played them and lost to them, you know, maybe guys start looking around saying, wow, I can play on that SEC level and go to Memphis, and that'd be cool. Same thing in basketball right now.
Yeah.
Tennessee is winning enough recruiting battles for the Nate Aments of the world. Previously, under different coaching staffs and different administrations of Tennessee basketball, they needed to be playing in Memphis against Memphis to prove that they could go toe-to-toe with the big dogs that is Memphis. Under Penny Hardaway, it's a little dog on a chain barking as you're going on your walk. Oh, that's so cute. Pat him on the head.
Look at him.
They think they're a Rottweiler. In reality, they're a Chihuahua. Memphis basketball. Yeah. And that is all Penny Hardaway does. He is all bark. He is no bite. Penny, you got to actually get to the second weekend of the NCAA tournament for us to actually take you seriously.
I love it because this is what happens from Penny saying, yeah, I would love to play UT. Is this drums up a statewide rivalry, man, that I will say I do think is necessary. I would absolutely love to see
the game happen.
I would love to see it happen
as a total neutral observer.
But the health of it, though, I think we'll have like fights in the stands. I think the amount of trash talking of the people that wouldn't want to travel from Knoxville to Memphis or from Nashville to Memphis to see the game and vice versa.
There's just a lot of Tennessee fans that already live there that would go.
But there's just so much tension in the idea that these two teams in the state they are right now would battle. And I'll say this too. I see no scenario in which Memphis wins in the next 5 years though too. Not at the way they're recruiting. The way the NIL
I mean, you can
collective
always,
is
in
set up.
basketball, one bad shooting night. I mean, you can always get somebody.
Not the way this team is constructed and how Coach Barnes has been recruiting as of late. I think to your point,
a different level.
It's a different level right now.
Right.
You go back with James Wiseman a few recruiting classes ago, it get very dicey. And Wiseman didn't even make it through the entire season because of being ineligible. But it is, to me, it's one of those things like you just said. It's the dog barking behind the fence, and as soon as you open up the door, he sits. Like, that's the way I look at this situation
That's
and
Tennessee
state that
and
it
Memphis,
in right
right
now. Yeah, you can open up the gate, and it's probably going to be a punch thrown. But after that, it's not much behind it, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, he's a Chihuahua that thinks he's a Rottweiler.
Yeah.
Penny Hardaway.
Yeah, shout out to my dog Zeus, by the way.
I mean, calling Memphis a little brother to Tennessee right now is an insult to little brothers everywhere.
But there's a lot of people that have the conversation that the Memphis football program is better than what the Vols got going on. Some like to argue that
I'd love to have that conversation with people.
It's the best program in the state right now. Like, I know it's trolling that has that, that conversation, but there's a strong mindset behind what they are. And to be quite honest with you, I can't see it being true.
It was maybe the case for 1 year under Jeremy Pruitt, but since Josh Heupel stepped foot on campus, there is no neighborhood in which Memphis and Tennessee football are living in the same zip code.
No, absolutely not. I'll say this, having Nate Ament on that roster just in general right now.
Right.
I think that trumps anything that Memphis has going on. And not just that. What is it, the last 5 years in a row, the Vols have had somebody in the draft drafted, in the NBA drafted too, or maybe longer than that. So the program that Rick Barnes is building, I think is just in a different class of where Memphis basketball is right now. And I'll say this, I grew up on Memphis basketball. I know what their history is. I know what Tubby, I know what that program means to that city, and I'll be quite honest, to this state too. But it's just a different conversation right now. It almost feels like the way Vanderbilt brags about what Pavia's brought to him. And most UT fans look at the football program at Vanderbilt and be like, yeah, whatever. You still got a lot of catching up to do before you can actually start talking trash. And that's why I feel like Memphis has bounced itself back to a little bit more.
Coming up next, Coach Dave McGinnis, Titans Radio's head coach, will join us. What are players doing to get ready in the final stages? What is the communication like between coaches and players as we prepare for training camp 2 weeks away? Plus, Ramon brought up a 2012 Steelers-Rams game yesterday, talking about blocking Aaron Donald for the first time. I want to ask Coach Mack what it was like scouting and coaching a young Aaron Donald as a 2012 member of the Jeff Fisher coaching staff in St. Louis for the Rams. We'll go down memory lane a little bit with Coach Mack coming up next. Ramona Will is fueled by Scooters Coffee on 104.5 The Zone, and Scooters Coffee is locally owned near you in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. Ramon Foster and Will Bowling joined this morning, as we are every Thursday at 7:20, by our good friend Coach Mack, Titans Radio's head coach. Brought to you by Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer. Mack, what's going on? How are you?
Hey, Will, Ramon, good morning, guys.
Hey, Mac.
Just getting down towards training camp. What do we always say? After the 4th of July, it's downhill slope. We're on it.
Downhill slope is right. Does that also mean it is the downhill slope of the Mac Across America tour? How has the tour been for you these past couple of weeks?
Yeah, it's good. It's in the books.
Okay. Lovely.
It's in the books.
Fantastic.
It was good. Got to see a lot of people, did a lot of things, did some clinics, it was just another quality Mac over America tour, but I'm glad to be back.
Rated A+ by the Better Business Bureau, right, Mac?
That's right.
Yeah.
Mac, how real is that, though, too, for coaches? Like, you talk about the downward slope. Like, what is the preparation process of self-scouting, of taking a look at practice plans, of thinking about training camp? Like, are coaches in that mode now, less than 2 weeks out, where they're starting the planning process of what camp is going to look like?
But most of that's already done. That was already done. You put that on the shelf for a little bit when you take some time, but once you start getting back into it, then you start refining it, depending on what's happened during this 5-week period, depending on the medical reports that you'll get back. Some of the guys that will be going through cleanup process. You don't want any surprises. Like, what happened down there in Tampa Bay with Tristan Wirfs, things like that. But you've got most of your plans already in place. Then you'll start to firm them up. But the coaches will probably all be back in mass in a group, probably a week before they go to training camp.
Mac, what is the communication like between coaches and players this time of year? Do you go totally radio silent for a lot of this time, or how much are coaches like Tracy Rocker in touch with Jeffrey Simmons and Devondre Sweat, or Frank Bush with some of these linebackers? Like, what is that open dialogue like this time of year?
Well, there is an open dialogue, and it depends on the makeup of your football team, individually, and then as an entire group. I mean, that I've done it for a lot of years, and some years when you've got a veteran group, I mean, it's not quite as important as it is when you've got newer people. The other thing that's important to know is that you can't just you can ask Ramon right there, and I think he'll agree with me. You've got to develop relationships with players so that when you call them during this time of the year, it's not a surprise to them. In other words, if you're on a level with a player, as you should be, if you're doing your job as a coach, where you develop a personal relationship, each guy is treated different. Everybody's treated fairly, but they're treated differently because they're all individual people. But it depends. Year to year, it's just the makeup of your room, because you're responsible for your room as a position coach. You're responsible for your side of the ball as a coordinator, and then as clearly as the head coach, you've got it all. And so you're in contact with them, but you have to start that process when you start developing a relationship with your players when they first show up. Because, if during the season I have never talked to Ramon Foster, and then all of a sudden I'm hitting him every 2 or 3 days the time he's off, that's not genuine. And Ramon will start wondering, what the hell does he want? When you've got a relationship, then that's different. But is there a contact? There's constant contact, just depending on the individual situations. But in all the years that I coached, I never, ever totally just went dark and lost contact with my players. And when I first started, guys, we didn't have all of the off-season stuff. And I mean, because there was no free agency, there was no salary cap, you had a veteran team, most of your guys were back all the time. And in mass, back then, when you got through the playoffs, the next time you saw your whole team as a group, the next time you saw them as a group was for a 3-day mini camp 2 weeks after the draft. So it's a different world now.
Coach Mack is with us this morning. Mack, you're 100% correct when it comes down to the communication, I guess, consistency. I didn't really want coaches to hit me up in that time because it was my time. I knew how my offseason was going to go. If you were hitting me up, then that means that there was probably a in the building conversation about me that probably wasn't good. And I was of the mindset, man, that look, let me do my thing. You'll see when I'm ready to go by training camp. Because it is, Mac. You add pressure to guys when you constantly hitting them up. And those guys, I feel like they constantly get hit up when you don't do it on the normal or when it's not normal to you. You create a whole lot of anxiety and, like you said, fakeness behind it, Mac. And it may be in the right place, but sometimes guys just want to be left alone, man. That is one of the best things I feel like coaches can try to understand about their guys.
Well, I understood it, and I learned it very quickly because when I first entered into the league, I mean, that was a veteran-laden team. That was an accomplished veteran-laden team. They already had a lot of water in their bucket. Mm-hmm. They didn't need me checking up on them every 2 or 3 days. And I mean, you don't need that call. Just go, hey, how's it going? They don't. That's not what this is. And plus, here's the other thing: you were a very responsible player, and you were because you proved yourself as an undrafted player that came in and not only earned a job but kept a job because you did the right thing. Now, there are some guys that you've got to have a little bit tighter rein on, but it's just like riding a horse. Some horses you can give their head to them when you're riding because they're going to act right. Others, they'll tighten the reins. So
no doubt, Coach Matt. With that being said, though, I do want to ask this question because we hear it all the time. Like guys who are overweight, of course, them dropping weight is never a thing. Or you got guys that are underweight. Hey, did you add those 5 to 7 pounds? It's never a thing. But when you got an established guy like a Jeffrey Simmons that chooses to drop weight, Coach Mack, as far as like the defensive set and how you try to draw stuff up for him or the changes, because, I mean, he's dropped 20-plus pounds. Do you have to make adjustments for guys like that choose to shred weight a little bit?
You really don't, because most of the time when guys are like that, first of all, I mean, that's a great question because there's recent examples, of just that was one of the things that you put down when you go to get big men. Yeah. I mean, and big men, first of all, they're going to have to go through body changes to play in the National Football League at a high level for it's 17 weeks now. For 16 weeks it used to be. So there's a change that everybody has to make with their bodies, as you well know, because nobody is ever enters into this league unless some of those guys that are just blessed from womb to tomb with, the ability to just step on a professional field and just be able to compete at the highest level. So especially the big men, that is something that, but you, again, Ramon, it goes back to what we just talked about, developing the relationship before it ever starts. Right. Okay. Big Jeff came in here, with an ACL injury, and you already knew what kind of work ethic he had because of the way that he was going. He set himself up to get ready to play with an ACL injury that he was drafted with, and then his performance, and you can tell whether guys know what they're doing or not. They prove it to you every day. Right. Now, some people that have an issue every day with that, clearly, yes, you've got to check with them, and you've got to be sure because their career's not going to last if they don't get it. You just had a defensive tackle that the Titans took just recently. That one of the big things were when you come in, here's the plan that's going to be. You're an exceptional athlete, but here's the plan that's going to be for your size to get into the National Football League. And you saw what he did, and you saw the way that he was able to handle that. But you absolutely have to check on him. And look, I never liked finding big men. I didn't like it. I did not like doing it. But some people, you've got to protect them from themselves. It's just like the Jerry Maguire movie. help me help you.
That's right.
You best believe.
The guys are different, but big men, most of them that get it, that stay in it for a long time, figure it out.
Coach Dave McGinnis with us, Titans Radio's head coach, presented by Two Rivers Ford. Mac, when we talk about Femi Oladipo and the way he can spend this time, and someone that's not played the edge rusher position ever for a full season in his football career, how much individual development can he do, almost like a pitcher learning new pitches on different rush moves and different ways that he can get to the quarterback? Mac, is that something he can be doing now before training camp starts?
Well, so, you're given things to work on, and just position specific things to work on. But the biggest thing that I always would tell, regardless, from the times I was assistant to when I was a coordinator to when I was a head coach, is impress upon the young guys, especially coming into their first training camp, because this is the first training camp now. It's a lot different than the first OTAs. There's a world of difference, as you guys both know, coming up is you've got to be in condition to be able to do it. And so that is the main thing. They will have, yes, in Femi's part, he will be given drills to work on. I mean, this guy was staying after practice already, working on things. But being in condition so that you can, once you get back with a group, you can work on those things, and you don't spend time wasting trying to get into condition and losing all that position-specific development time once training camp starts. That's the thing that I would stress to those guys all the time, especially guys that I was going to have to depend on.
No doubt.
Mac, we had a conversation about T'Vondre Sweat the other day where Ramon mentioned it feels like he could go one of two ways in his career and be a Vince Wilfork kind of run-stopping tackle, or has the skill set to be almost like a bigger Vita Vea type of player in terms of the way he can get after the passer. Brian Callahan has talked about T'Vondre Sweat adding more of a pass rush bag to his repertoire for this upcoming season. What do you see as his next step? How does T'Vondre Sweat become an even better player in year two with that ability to be kind of a Wilfork-like run stopper with someone with traits and characteristics that not a lot of people have, and kind of like a Vita Vea mold as well?
Yeah, well, T. Sweat, he is one of those guys. Here's what's unusual about him. It's a big man, but he has got elite for a big man, short area quickness. And so when you have that, then clearly, yes. Now, he's still going to be one of the biggest men. But again, I go back to the conditioning part of it that is extremely important. And we just, as I was talking about, there were a lot of things that they laid down to him that, look, this has to happen from step A all the way to step Z that you're going to have to do if we agree to draft you, we agree to draft you fairly high, that here's the program you've got to be on, and we've got to have an understanding right now, not only with you, but, I mean, they went to Huntsville, Texas to sit in front of his people that are involved with him to say, here is the plan for this guy, because he is special. He's got a special quality. He's not just a stationary big man. He is not just a space eater. He is that, but he can move in space. And so, to me, it's all a mindset as far as with him. But again, it goes back to the type of physical condition he's going to be in. He's got a great example in Jeffrey Simmons right there in front of him, and hopefully he will absorb that. But I mean, his conditioning is going to be key, because that directly relates to your work ethic, your work ethic directly relates to your skills improvement.
Mac, it was funny yesterday. We did a segment with Ramon about the top 5 most difficult defensive linemen to block in his career. And we talked a little bit about young Aaron Donald because you were on that staff in St. Louis with Jeff Fisher, with Greg Williams, with Denard Wilson, who was a young defensive backs coach on that staff. For a second year, Aaron Donald playing against the Pittsburgh Steelers when Ramon got you guys 12-6 on September 27th of 2015. I know I'm not equating Aaron Donald as T'Vondre Sweat. Those are two very different prospects. But when you guys were scouting him, Mac, if you could kind of go back, what did you remember about a young Aaron Donald that stood out to you that was so different as he was starting to make a name for himself and really was just such an unbelievable player right out of the gates his rookie season in 2014?
Well, we had already, putting that team together, and again, we started building that defense when we got there because, they weren't good.
Right.
That's 5 years of just not being a good team. They had some players. But what we did have on that players, we had edge rushers. We had Robert Quinn, who was a number 1 pick out of North Carolina that they had drafted that ended up, being an extremely good player. And then Chris Long, who they had taken number 1 out of Virginia. That was a really, really good player, but they really didn't have anybody on the interior. And so when we first got there, the first guy we got to start to build that interior was a guy named Michael Brockers out of LSU. And Michael Brockers was a beast.
Yeah.
A beast.
Long arm guy, big body guy, Coach Mack, with a motor too.
Absolutely. And Brock, when I went down to LSU on pro day with Mike Waffle, the defensive line coach, because at that time I was assistant head coach, so I did a lot of, covering all the positions. So we go down to LSU. Anyway, got Brock. Then, we started supplementing it with, really, defensive tackle wasn't a huge problem. We had 2 number 1 picks in that draft, but we needed an offensive tackle, so we went offensive tackle first. Aaron Donald, though, Mike Waffle, who was the defensive line coach, who has been the defensive line coach for the Giants, with Strahan and all of that group. All right, and before that, he was a defensive line coach at the Raiders. Excellent defensive line coach. He and Jim Washburn, the absolute 2 best I've ever been around in my life. So anyway, on the same staff with. So anyway, we're sitting there with Aaron Donald. There's a guy at Pittsburgh that I had a really close relationship with named Bob Junko, who I coached with at TCU. All right, but then was a legendary Pitt guy, was out of coaching, but then was involved with the football department, bringing bringing the guys in. Just that guy that in the Pittsburgh area, and he would tell me about Aaron Donald. Of course, Mike Waffle watched. We watched tape, and
right.
Aaron Donald was crazy to watch on tape. Because when you watched him, you thought there's no way this guy's really doing this all the time because he was not a prototypical size defensive tackle. Aaron Donald was not a tall man, but he was incredibly gifted. This is one of the strongest pound for pound human being that could move. That it was really freakish, to be around him. So you start watching the tape, but with 2 number 1 picks, and the whole knock on him was what? Not tall enough. Yep. Not tall enough. It was always a yeah, but. Well, when we started watching him, Mike Waffle absolutely, fell in love with him, and Ray Agnew, who in his own right was a great defensive tackle in the National Football League, from North Carolina State, was running the pro department for us. And, in fact, his son Keenan is with the Titans now. Anyway, nice. Ray Agnew, as we would have meetings, and Waffle would stand on the table and about this guy. And so the one draft meeting that we had, finally Ray Agnew got out. Ray Agnew was very quiet, very reserved, but he was a beast as a player. And he finally stood up and slammed his hand on the table and said, "Look, I'm tired of listening to all this." And he said some words, and he never cursed, but he did. He said, "You guys just don't understand what this guy can be."
Well,
Yeah.
So, and
He was
Mike
right.
Waffle, then when Mike Waffle brought him in for his 30 visits, so, Jeff Fisher always listened.
Yeah.
And we brought him in for the 30 visit. We were in the room. We were in the room talking about quarterbacks. Because on your 30 visits, you have to stop your time. He came in, kicked the door open when we were in the meeting, walked in and said, I don't give some more words. Who you guys are talking about right now? Aaron Donald's standing right there with him, saying, this guy, he took his name tag off of the board, stuck it right at the top and said, he's better than anybody on this whole effing board.
Wow.
Just letting you know that right now.
Wow.
And walked out. And we went to, okay. Get to the draft.
He was right.
And we get to the draft. It goes down, and, the 13th pick, he's still there. And so, Fish said, Matt, go get Waff. Brought him in there, said, get your guy's name, put him up there. We're taking him.
Nice.
When he got there, it was incredible. First of all, his work ethic is second to none, which just was, and then he was very clearly showed that he wasn't anybody to be messed with because, the first 9-on-7 we had, a veteran offensive guard tried to cut him on an outside zone play from the back end, and he just stopped the whole thing and grabbed him by the face mask and slung him around like a dog in the backyard was slinging a rag doll around and jerked his face mask off his helmet, threw it at him, said, don't ever cut me again.
Wow.
See, Coach Mack, I was all for you until you said he started slinging offensive linemen around by the face mask.
Strikes a chord to the bone.
Everybody stood back and went, what in the... And
yeah,
we know how that story all ended up.
Know how it went.
Coach Mack, real quick, man. I dropped the name yesterday. Will had heard for the first time, and I told him I was like, that guy was a dog in this league, man. But Frosty Rucker, Cincinnati.
Oh, hey, look,
yeah.
The Ruck. First of all, as an offensive lineman, he was. I am sure, and you played against him a lot.
Yeah,
he was as nasty as there was.
Yeah.
And he was also as relentless as there was, and he was twitched up.
Yeah.
As an opponent, when you were watching that, you were going, oh, okay, this guy could be a problem. And he was.
No doubt, Coach Mack.
I love it. Coach Mack joins us Thursdays at 7:20. Those are the kinds of trips down memory lane you get every time we're joined by Titans Radio's head coach, brought to you by Two Rivers Ford. Mack, we've got one more visit with you next week, and then after that, it is training camp time in Nashville. We're looking forward to it.
Yeah, I can't wait to see you guys and be back talking ball, but you picked an easy one to talk about today in Aaron Donald, I promise.
I love it.
Yes, indeed, Mac.
Good stuff, Mac. Thank you.
See you, Mac.
Yes, sir. That's Coach Mac with us this morning here on the show. And, man, I just can't imagine what that was like of just a lot of pounding on the table. If I pounded on the table for Aaron Donald and he ended up being that,
head coach,
you better do whatever I want to do forever.
I'm telling you.
My goodness. Ultimate trump card.
That is, man.
Like it.
Goodness. Let's talk more about that if you want that grabbing of the face mask thing.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do that next.
615-737-1045 about setting the tone in your first training camp. Aaron Donald did it. How does that make Ramon feel as an offensive lineman who block guys like that for a living? We'll talk about it next.
It's Ramon Foster for Bronze Motorsports. Good people, man. I'm telling y'all, get ready for this upcoming Friday, man. Yes, July 11th at 5 p.m. You can head to Hendersonville, man. Matter of fact, you can head to Main Street. I'll give you the address, 789 West Main Street in Hendersonville, Tennessee, man. It's because my good friend Brian at Bronze Motorsports is having a BMS pre-party open house for the Southeastern Truck Nationals this Friday. It's going to be a good time. I've gone before, man. There's incredible music there. They got live DJs. They got giveaways. The food trucks. So, yeah, you can eat and sample some of the food that's around there, too. But here's the part that I love. If you are a car enthusiast like me, you used to just get those magazines off the shelf and just look at stuff, guess what? You can do it in person, man, because they have a jaw-dropping showcase of beautiful rides, man. And it's more than just a party, too, that's happening. It is, you can bring your family. There will be handouts, man, for fellow enthusiasts, and you can soak up the incredible atmosphere this Friday. I will be there. I think 3HL is hosting there this Friday too. But it's your chance to see some, I'm talking about amazing built vehicles that will be in Hendersonville this upcoming Friday. Be there. Matter of fact, beat me there. The address again is 789 West Main Street. And the guy that's throwing this, man, is Brian from Brian's Motorsports. So see you this Friday, and make sure you tell him that Ramon sent you.
Ramona Will, fueled by Scooters Coffee on 104.5 The Zone. Wrap it up, hour number 2, almost to halftime of your Thursday morning. Ramon Foster, Will Bowling, Justin Hawkins, our producer. So Coach Mack struck a chord with Ramon today.
He did.
Talking about a young Aaron Donald grabbing offensive line face masks and just throwing them.
Yeah.
How does that make you feel? You wanted to talk more about this. You've got the floor on rookies setting the tone in training camp.
Well, one, it just shows you what your team is, where they are, too, because that type of stuff right there doesn't happen to veterans. And I say that because there is such a hierarchy, Will, in like the NFL, and I think all professional sports. I would go professional sports, yeah, there's a hierarchy. I've seen freshmen come into college and become big dogs like instantly. Eric Berry, bam, all right, cool. You understand that one, right? But like in the NFL and professional ranks where you got grown men that have been in the league and done more stuff in their careers than you have, to have a rookie come in as a tone setter, to grab a veteran offensive lineman or grab anybody, brother, face mask and tell you, don't bleeping do that again. One, I will say this, the heartbeat of your team is probably more soft than it ever should have been. Two, you needed a guy like that to come in and be a franchise changer like that. And usually, and a whole lot of credit's given to a guy like Aaron Donald to also understand that, because here's the other side. Any rookie comes in and does that, they understand that's my candy bar from here on out. I don't know who the veteran was. I looked at the roster, and I feel like one of those guys shouldn't have been. It shouldn't have been, okay? One of the guys that I thought it was, Roger Saffold, because he played left guard.
Right.
And Aaron Donald historically has lined up as a left DT, which he's over the right guard.
The right guard, right.
So I'll say this. The coaches were probably ecstatic behind it as far as like having a guy that finally gave you that edge. That's why I will say this too. That's why I think Jeffrey Simmons is so important to this team. Him being number 4 on the top D tackles list was huge, because to walk into a building and know you got the presence and just the fear of a team on the other side of the ball does much more for, I think, your team than you actually realize. Historically, I think we hear the same thing about Javon Curse, right? When he walked into the Titans facility, how people were enamored with how he was as an athlete and how he played. And then he goes on and get the rookie sack record, which still holds true today, right? But then you let's look at this situation the same way Aaron Donald, I guess, brought it to the Tennessee Titans. Like that era in which Javon Curse came in, I think was a jump start for a lot more things to come.
Yeah, for sure.
And finding those guys, man, even if he was the 13th overall pick as far as Aaron Donald goes, that's why the draft is so important.
So the question I have then for you, Ramon, from the Titans' perspective is, are you okay with Titans rookies coming in and just running things and being the guys? Like, because typically there is a level of, I wouldn't say decorum, but there's a level of patience you got to have as a rookie to kind of talk your talk a little bit. On a team like this that went 3-14 last season, now with a rookie quarterback who is the leader of all things Titans moving forward, I think you have to be okay with the rookies coming in saying, no, this is our team now. And they're going to be given so many opportunities to play that, I mean, what can guys on a 3-14 team really say in return?
To be quite honest, I'm more excited about what this rookie class is for this current team than except 5 vets on this squad, to be quite honest with you. That and to your point, yes, I never forget. Like, I think it was this past summer, this past fall. And you remember Cam Newton had the conversation where he and Steve Smith was beefing,
joining
like,
a team of losers, right?
A team of losers,
for sure.
In hindsight, Cam wasn't wrong. Maybe the players weren't losers, but their mindset on how they compete, was very loser-ish.
Sure,
if we can be honest.
Sure.
And I think that's why this fan base is just grabbing so hard onto Cam Ward. Because you feel like he's doing that without actually saying it. And the belief that he's the guy to just grab people by the neck and say, follow me. Or you know what, in my old saying, you can lead a horse to water, you can't make him drink.
Right.
Well, guess what you can do? You can drown him. Like, that's probably a little wrong to say, but I'm going to force you to drink what we're selling. And I think that's why I'm okay with this rookie class. I'll say a little bit of last year's class, too, of like leading the charge. Sometimes the leadership comes from the youth.
It's on them to take ownership of what the Titans are moving forward. It's on, really, to me, the last 2 draft classes. On homegrown Titans. To take extra pride in the Titans drafting you and investing in you, or signing you, if you weren't drafted, the way some of these guys weren't, day one. Means something a little bit extra when you are a part of the organization from day one in your NFL career.
Now, here's the other little caveat. With that youth-led team, that rookie-led team or that young emerging team, the Rams still went 6-10.
Yep.
7-9. And that third year of Aaron Donald's year, Jeff Fisher got fired, and they were 6-whatever too.
It doesn't mean it always works.
Not quickly.
When rookies come in and take over. And again, that's Aaron Donald at defensive tackle. We're talking about Cam Ward at quarterback.
Yeah.
If you're alpha of your locker room, if the guy setting the tone for the whole organization is your quarterback, then you are set up to succeed moving forward if that guy meets the expectations set for him.
And for that team, Aaron Donald was I'm talking about the unanimous leader and tone setter for the Rams.
For sure.
Now,
he got a ring by the end of it.
He did.
Yeah.
It took 10 years.
Yeah, it took a while.
But no, what was it, 8? But that's the buildup sometimes.
615-737-1045 at halftime of the show. You can stream us on the 1045 The Zone app as well as Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. We'll hit the headlines for you coming up. Nashville SC back in action last night. We'll talk with former NSC captain Dax McCarty coming up at 8:20. Plus another commitment for Tennessee football. How does that change the amount of pressure on Josh Heupel to win this year and keep this class together? We'll talk about that next.
It's Ramon Foss for Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Good people, nobody wants to deal with the plumbing, especially HVAC right now, as hot as it is, or an electrical emergency. Most of the time, you don't even know what it will cost, or if it'll get fixed right, or if somebody's just trying to sell you something you do not need. When you call Hiller, though, their experts are going to solve your problems quickly. And I'm here to tell you that they do. I myself am a user, customer of what Hiller does. Man, I've called them to my house numerous times for separate things, and they have been quick. They've been very prompt. And I'll be honest with you, usually if you set an appointment with them, they will come earlier than expected to. It's just the service that they provide to you. And they've been here in business for over 35 years. They are family owned and operated too. And their techs, very professional, very experienced, and very trustworthy too. And that's because they're all background checked and drug screened too. Their motto is this: happy you'll be or the service is free. And they absolutely mean that. If there's an issue with the service they provided you, they will do all things to make it right, even if it means giving you back your money. So to learn more about Hiller, to book with them like I do, simply visit the website at happyhiller.com.
It is 8:01. Good morning, live from the 104.5 The Zone studios. I'm Justin Hawkins. Nashville Soccer Club is moving on to the U.S. Open Cup semifinals after a 5-2 win last night over DC United at Geodis Park. Their unbeaten streak continues to 15 matches, and a second-half surge led by Sam Surge's 2 goals powered the boys in gold to the win after being down 2-1 to start the second half. Jonathan Perez, Andy Nahar, and Walker Zimmerman, they also got on the score sheet for Nashville. The semifinals are set for September 16th, and they'll face the winner of Philadelphia Union and the New York Red Bulls. Next up for Nashville is a matchup against Lionel Messi and Inter Miami FC in Fort Lauderdale Saturday night, with the first kick set for 6:30 p.m. Central Time. In NBA news, the Phoenix Suns yesterday signed star guard Devin Booker to a 2-year, $145 million max contract extension through the 2029-2030 season. Booker's deal is the highest annual average salary in NBA history for an extension, set at $72.5 million per year. Booker has 4 All-Star appearances in his 10 NBA seasons. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Ramona Will is fueled by Scooters Coffee on 104.5 The Zone. We are into the second half already on this Thursday. Ramon Foster, what do we call Thursdays on the show?
Friday Junior.
Oh, that is absolutely right. Thursday is the new Friday, if you haven't heard. Now you have.
And you really know if you're around Music Circle, where we are, where you see all the new out-of-towners on the, what are they, the pedal taverns, and walking around.
Electric scooters. The I Got Plowed party bus, which is tugged by a tractor.
Believe it. You better believe it.
You never know what kind of people you're going to see down here in Music Room.
Not, man. White boots with cowboy hats.
Yeah.
Still very popular.
Absolutely they are.
They're very popular, man.
Oh, yeah. There goes one right now.
There was one right there, man. We saw a very interesting person walking down the street a second ago, but hey, that's neither here nor there.
Downtown living.
That's downtown living.
615-737-1045. He is the 11-year NFL veteran, Ramon Foster. I'm Will Bowling. Justin Hawkins, our producer. Tennessee picking up safety Joel Combe from Kell High School in Marietta, Georgia. 2 days and 2 Kell High School commitments. Joining his teammate Braden Rouse, who picked Tennessee over Texas on Tuesday. Ramon, we talked about this in hour 1 this morning, about how there's going to be pressure on Josh Heupel for Tennessee football to be good enough this season to keep a lot of these recruits. Mm-hmm. The question I have for you is this. Is Tennessee wealthy enough in NIL dollars and facilities to survive a 7-win season with a top 10 recruiting class? Do they have enough to entice recruits to come in and say, nope, this is just a 1-year drop. Our quarterback left. Mm-hmm. This is our pitch. This is the money we've got for you. This train still is moving at the same speed in 2026 again. Let's say all those things happen. Does Tennessee have enough to keep this class together?
I think so at 7 wins. You start teetering at around 6, it's a different conversation at that point. Not just from the recruits, but also from the fans. Like where Tennessee is right now, haven't not won a national championship recently. It's been a while. You made it to the college football playoffs. Even though Nico didn't play a huge part in it, people look at him being a representation of how you ended up making it to the college football playoffs also. What Tennessee has to do, and it's super important, they have to have a continuation of success, Will, on the field. That is the biggest thing that they could do right now for that program. I think the NIL dollars matter, but here's what I will also say. In this era where you can just move around from your 7-on-7 teams to your travel teams to heck, now in the state of Tennessee, you can transfer out for football in high school too. Right. They're going to follow, Will, more times than not just the money train, but the wins. The wins matter. The on-field success of the Vols has to continue because that is your biggest selling point. Most of them all of them going to have revenue sharing. All of them going to have money too. What are you doing to separate Knoxville from Athens, from Baton Rouge, from Oxford? Those are the questions you got to ask yourself, and it has to be the on-field product. And I would even throw more so to the offense, because that's what people are going to pick you apart with.
I think 2025 Tennessee could be 2024 LSU. That sets up things in a way that you feel like you are a contender again the next fall. It's not just a punt on this season. I think there's a world we could live in where Joey Aguilar hits wide open receivers when they run wide open, because that happens in Josh Heupel's offense still. And Tennessee's still pretty good on offense. And if that front seven stays healthy and steps up, and some of the young guys are good, and Tremont McCoy comes back and looks like himself, like, we could still live in a world where Tennessee is 9-3. It hits the over, where they only lose to, at Tuscaloosa, Georgia, Florida?
Yeah.
Like, a 9-3 season this year for Tennessee is absolutely a successful season. A 7-win season might make everyone mad enough to up their Vol Club donations a little bit. And that is what we're seeing at LSU right now. LSU was good enough to make people care, but bad enough to make them angry. Bad enough to make them say, you know what, we lost Bryce Underwood at Michigan, probably in part because we didn't meet expectations last season, and we gave up. I mean, Jalen Milroe is still running for touchdowns against that LSU defense in Baton Rouge in a night game. Just absolutely ran all over them. So much so that people got mad and donated. And now all of a sudden, LSU is the number 2 transfer recruiting class in the country moving forward in 2025. That's where I think Tennessee could be in a year. But you got to be still good enough to keep people interested and relevant to where they feel like they can invest in you.
Yeah.
And if Tennessee's floor this season is non-bowl eligibility, I think the absolute worst Tennessee could be this year is 5 wins, 5-7. I think that's the worst it could get. It's going to be really hard to keep this class together. That is where there is an added element of expectations and pressure on Josh Heupel this fall.
The other side of it for me is who are in keeping this class together and also building it up to the big top 5 class. I guess if they are 6-6, what's the cluster of teams that you're recruiting against, though, too? I look at the teams that Tennessee's in that bubble with right now as far as, like, battling. It has been, you beat Texas out, beat Georgia out. Auburn, I feel like, is going to make a push. Florida's going to make a push in South Carolina. I feel like those are, like, the main competitors of being able to try to poach players away from Tennessee.
Especially because you're recruiting the Carolinas, Georgia, and Florida as your main recruiting ground.
I don't look at, like, the 2 players we got out of Mississippi right now as like a threat to Ole Miss taking them the way I feel, because it's hard to keep in-state guys going to that school for whatever reason. They're in-state guys. They go everywhere but to the SIP. It's crazy, man.
Well, and Ole Miss doesn't recruit high schoolers well.
Well, which is crazy because that should be Lane's forte.
They are. His forte is the portal. He's a portal king.
Portal king. How's that? Yeah, never mind. Well, that's not the discussion right now.
Well, I mean, the way it's worked out for him is they're good enough to be relevant and make a New Year's Six game every now and then, but they're not good enough to be a playoff team.
Yeah.
Even last year with a first-round pick quarterback.
Yeah.
Wasted it.
No doubt. In that, Tennessee has to beat Florida. Tennessee has to look better than what South Carolina is this year, and that's going to be crazy because they got Lenore Sellers over there. He is a dog, and if Tennessee can get anything out of Joey Aguilar moving forward, if it is him to be the guy. One thing you like about guys like him, if you put them around a better cast of characters, and I expect them to be a better cast of characters this year.
Yep.
Those guys who are gunslingers find ways to give their guys the football. And to be quite honest with you, this offense is built for guys to come in like that. Right. To be quite honest, as long as the guys, I say this with all due respect, as long as the guy's competent enough to know how to have touch on the ball, not like Joe Milton did in that first year, but if you can have Joey Aguilar look similar to what Hendon Hooker was, what did Hendon do that was overly special? Nothing really, except for hit the guys that needed to be hit.
He had a great deep ball.
He had a great feel for the pocket. And I feel like Joey has that from the tape that I've seen, maybe in just a step below.
You can throw for 4,000 yards in a Josh Heupel offense by just hitting layups.
That's it.
Hendon Hooker was a high shooting percentage quarterback at layups. Jalen Hyatt was open for a lot of layups, and he was consistently connected with.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That's what Joey Aguilar has to do. You don't have to go be 2022 Hendon Hooker. Can you be 2021 Hendon Hooker?
Now,
That's the question I have is, can you be first year at Tennessee Hendon Hooker, hit some open receivers, get away from a couple of rushes? Like that I think is the thing that Hendon was especially good at, was being on the run and evading the pocket and getting extra hidden yards that are just that, extra. That Joe Milton and Nico Imaliava were not consistently making guys miss and getting in the run game. That's where Hendon was a little bit different.
Yeah, and the other side of it too is, I've always said this, and I do feel this way. I feel like college defenses are so much of a guessing game that not having a whole lot of Tennessee film on a guy like Joey Aguilar plays to the advantage of the Vols too.
At first it does, yeah.
At first it does.
That's
now,
one of the ways that it helps you.
Here's the other part. How much are you willing to give to Georgia or show Georgia that may overexpose you for the rest of the year? Because that's the third game of the season. But you got
good point. You empty the playbook to beat Syracuse.
Exactly. I look at that first year like how C.J. Stroud introduction was to the NFL, or how Jaden Daniels. Hey, who is this guy?
Well, I mean, even with Hendon Hooker in 22, we would see Tennessee run different playbooks against teams in 2022 against Florida and Alabama. Like, Josh Heupel was going deep in his bag on some of the sets and some of the motions and some of the ways he was exploiting those defenses that we weren't seeing against the likes of Kentucky,
right?
Who you beat 42-6.
And the other part to me, as we speak about what this record could be in a light conversation, is how good is the run game?
It's a big question. I mean, it's a three-headed monster with Star Thomas, the Duke transfer, Peyton Lewis, who feels like he's 1B, and Deshaun Bishop, who everyone continues to write off and forget about.
Listen, Deshaun Bishop is going to get...
He's the guy. He's 1A to me.
There we go.
Deshaun Bishop is 1A. Peyton Lewis is 1B. Star Thomas is 1C to me.
100% will. Yeah. And the way you can spread defenses out, I feel like some teams allow you to run the ball, but they can also hurt you, especially if you have ace in the hole with Joey Aguilar's ability to be flamboyant around the pocket is what we'll call it.
Sure.
I like the idea of it. Now, seeing Mike Matthews, Braylon Staley become more dudes than these tight ends that they have will.
Right.
How are those guys going to be as far as their playmaking ability this fall? That, especially Mike Matthews.
Yeah, because Tennessee receivers last year, even when they caught it, there were not a lot of explosive moments where you were making a couple of guys miss and taking it to the house.
And I felt like that was the difference when we look at that 22 team, right? Like, you saw guys
It's a big
break.
playability.
Now, watching how the defense creates a shell around that offense is something that Heupel, I think, has to be one of his main challenges going into this fall. Yeah. Can you break that Ohio State shell that they played against? You remember watching it?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's his next test to me.
Well, and the amoeba defense, too, of walking guys up to the line of scrimmage and you put two linebackers over the center. You don't know where the pressure is coming from. The positive of that is that Joey Aguilar is old. Joey Aguilar has seen a lot of different blitz packages and different looks and different things. And that is the positive, that Joey's played a lot of football.
He has.
He's played a lot of football at Appalachian State and at JUCO and as a early 20s instead of late teens quarterback. You hope there is a level of composure and just hitting layups that you didn't have last season.
Yep.
Coming up next, Apple TV's Dax McCarty will join us. Dax, the former captain of Nashville Soccer Club and a former boy in gold for 4 seasons, puts in perspective for you just how impressive NSC's turnaround has been, and previews a massive one in Fort Lauderdale against Lionel Messi and Inter Miami coming up this Saturday night. Dax McCarty joins us. Talk a little bit of soccer coming up next.
When couples walk into Genesis Diamonds, their eyes get big, all right? It's a mind-blowing display of sparkling jewelry with literally thousands of choices when it comes to engagement rings. All the styles she's seen online, right there. But the experts at Genesis make them feel totally at ease. They are offered a beverage. They are asked a lot of questions about their taste and their style. They're also given a no-holds-barred education. They are even told the secrets of the jewelry business. And that's because the consultants at Genesis are not on commission. They are not retail clerks. They are not transaction focus. They can spend 30 minutes with you or they can spend 3 hours with you. It doesn't matter. You can see dozens and dozens of diamonds and an array of sizes and shapes and color grades too. You can see handcrafted rings from all the top designers that other stores are not even allowed to carry, good people. You can see the difference between a diamond that is properly cut and one you might see on one of those online places, all right? The difference will blow you away. Bottom line, Genesis will take away all the risk, all the mystery, all the confusion, and help you make a decision that you will be confident in for years to come. Genesis Diamonds, a true direct importer with rock bottom prices and a luxury experience with no compromises. Genesis Diamonds are located in Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Ramon and Will, fueled by Scooters Coffee on 104.5 The Zone. Scooters Coffee, locally owned in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. Alongside 11-year NFL veteran Ramon Foster, I'm Will Bowling. Pleased to be joined this morning by former Nashville SC captain and midfielder, now MLS season pass analyst on Apple TV. You see him every weekend watching MLS coverage on MLS 360. The whole crew doing a great job. Talking a little bit of Nashville SC this morning as they get ready for Inter Miami this weekend. Dax, what's going on, man? How are you?
Hey, guys, I'm doing great. Thank you for the lovely introduction. All is well. Really looking forward to this game this weekend.
Going to be a fun one. And Dax, I know it is incredible in this city right now, just the buzz around this team. And for us here on a morning radio show, the amount of people that are kind of jumping on the bandwagon and wanting to talk soccer a little bit. But when you look at this team from the broad perspective, Dax, what impressed you Saturday against Philly? I know last night, 5 unanswered against DC United. There's a lot to like about this team right now. What is the biggest positive for you about the way things are going for NSC?
Oh, man, that's a tough one right out of the gate because there's actually so much to like about this team. I could talk about the attacking firepower they have right now with the combination of Hani and Sam Surridge, which is honestly close to the best in the league. If you want to go by pure raw numbers, it is the best in the league. But when you throw a fella named Lionel Messi in there with whoever else, Luis Suarez, it's tough to say that Hani and Sam are the most dangerous. But right now, they're absolutely fantastic. I love the way Nashville's midfield plays. I love BJ Callahan. I think he's a MLS Coach of the Year candidate in the way that he's just getting the absolute most out of this group. But what I'm most impressed with is actually the team's resilience. It felt like, especially, when I was there and in the early years, there was this almost feeling of, okay, if we can just keep games tight, keep games close, not go down a goal and squeak out a draw, whether we were at home or on the road, then that was always seen as a positive result. This Nashville SC team just does not stop. They do not go into a shell. It doesn't matter if they're winning 2-0 or losing 2-0. They are going to play the exact same way. And that is how you know that you have a really, really good, not just a great coach, but a great team as well. Because they went down a man against Philly, the leaders in the Supporter Shield race, and they just kept playing the same exact way, and they got their just rewards by the penalty in the last minute. And then against DC United in the Open Cup, they were down 2-0, and I never, ever felt like they were rattled. I never felt like they were out of the game. I felt like their resilience and just the automation of how they play was going to kick in and they were going to get chances. And so fun team to watch right now, man. Certainly one of the most informed teams in MLS at the moment.
Former Nashville SC midfielder, now Apple TV analyst Dax McCarty, our guest this morning. So, Dax, we always kind of give this disclaimer that I do the broadcast here on the station, but I always want to try to bridge the gap and put things in simple terms as well that our new listeners and new fans could understand. For you kind of putting this in context about the turnaround from last year to this year, Dax, how do you put into context the difficulty of how quickly this system has changed? Like going from 2024 early days to Ruben Muntali, the interim, to BJ Callahan. What is most different about the older Nashville SC system and this one? And what is the most challenging part about making that adjustment as quickly as this team has in your mind?
Yeah, well, the biggest difference is just the ethos and the philosophy with which people are starting to talk about Nashville SC. My analysts and my co-hosts on MLS 360, Sasha Kleshin and Bradley Wright Phillips, they said, listen, no disrespect to you, Dax, but we really didn't like watching your Nashville teams play. It was very, very much sit back, absorb pressure, hit on the counterattack, rely on Hani Mukhtar. Well, that's not even close to what we are witnessing now with Nashville SC, who they still rely, obviously, on their designated players, but that's not the only club that they have in the bag. They can beat you in a number of different ways. It's just been and I think a lot of it has to do with BJ Callahan starting last year. He got that 4 to 5 month runway to really see what he had in the players that were already on the roster, and then work with the front office and the technical staff at Nashville SC to really determine this is the path that we need to chart forward, right? And so, BJ Callahan, he came in and he just assessed what he had. He wanted to make sure that, the team played in a certain way that would benefit the players he had. But once he saw how the roster that he had last year was going to complement his vision for the team, they went out and signed players that were needed to execute the vision. And I'm looking at guys like Tagseth, guys like Gaston Brugman, who hasn't been as healthy this year as you would have liked to see, but guys like Ahmed Qasim, who's been absolute joy to watch. Even the young center back, Palacio. I mean, these are all players that have really elevated the overall level of Nashville SC. And if it wasn't for Anders Dreyer in San Diego,
right,
I think there's an argument to be made that Andy Nahar is the best signing of the MLS season so far. And I'm not saying that, I don't say that to be hot takey. I played with Andy Nahar when he was a winger when we were at DC United together. And you can see the talent, of course. But now, since he's moved back to fullback, he's just completely changed how dangerous Nashville SC can be. He's almost a number 10 playing as a right fullback, which is something that is very funny to say. But if you watch Nashville SC, almost everything creative that they do comes from either Andy Nahar or Hani Mukhtar, which is an incredible statement to make. It's just BJ Callahan has unlocked so much potential within this group, and his formation in that 4-2-2-2. It's just really been fun to watch.
We're joined by Dax McCarty of Apple TV and also former Nashville SC midfielder. Dax, I'm going to be honest, you mentioned fullback right there leading the way. I was thinking about football.
We're bridging the gap.
Yeah,
we're adding Ramon to our bandwagon, Dax.
Yes, we are, man, game by game, Dax. But with that being said, you speak about the style of ball that Nashville SC is playing and how much more exciting it is. So I just asked you a question about this upcoming weekend. Where is this Inter Miami team vulnerable, and where does Nashville match up well with them? Will kind of told me a little bit like if you score more than 2, you got a real good chance of beating them. So how will they match up against them this upcoming weekend?
Well, it's difficult to say because Inter Miami is in really good form right now. You're talking about two of the most informed teams in the league at the moment. Everyone knows, Nashville SC, I believe they're up to 15 games now unbeaten. I mean, guys, their last loss came back in April. That's incredible, truly, in terms of the consistency with which they're playing. But Inter Miami's playing pretty well themselves. I think they only have 1 loss in 9 games, and that was to the best team in the world at the moment, PSG, who just absolutely destroyed Real Madrid 4-0. So it can happen to anyone. It's not a surprise that Inter Miami lost that game, but something that, I don't know, awoken this absolute monster that is Lionel Messi. He might be playing even better than he was 5-6 years ago. I mean, it's truly insane what he has been able to do. For the Nashville SC fans listening that don't know, Lionel Messi just became the first player in MLS history to score 2 goals in 4 consecutive games. And he's just playing on another level right now. And a little bit of caution for Nashville SC fans, Inter Miami hasn't lost to Nashville in 7 games. Inter Miami's got 5 wins and 2 draws in the last 7 against Nashville. So make no mistake about it. This is an absolutely massive test for Nashville SC. The good news is that Inter Miami's very vulnerable defensively. They have been all season. Javier Mascherano has tightened things up a little bit at the back. I think the Club World Cup kind of really galvanized this group to say, we need to be better defensively or else we're going to get destroyed against these, better teams around the world. And they did that. And now it's really shining through. They've been more compact. They're getting better performances from their defenders and their defensive midfielders. And then when you have Lionel Messi in the team, he is able to produce a moment of magic almost whenever he wants. And so this will be the biggest test for Nashville that they have faced in the last couple of months. There's no question about it. I think it's probably one of the games of the season up to this point. If Nashville SC has hopes to win the Supporter Shield, which they absolutely should, they're right in the thick of the race. They should go into this game with a ton of confidence, but realize that this is a 6-point game. This is going to be a game that can swing the Supporter Shield race in favor of Inter Miami, who has, I believe, 3 games in hand on Nashville SC and the rest of the league. and they're right behind Nashville. They're chasing their heels, but in terms of points, it sets up for a blockbuster occasion. Both teams won midweek, which just shows you there's just tons of confidence flowing through both of these teams. Should be an epic matchup.
Dax, from where you see where you see the MLS right now, from where you came into the league in 2006, what has been that buildup of what MLS is to see yourself transitioning now after 19 years of going into the booth and discussing one of the fastest growing sports in the world here, at least in America, man? What has it been like for you as a professional now behind the mic, and also to see the league at where it's at from its inception, I guess the first game in 1996?
Oh, Ramon, I could go on for days about this question. The biggest difference for sure is just the overall quality of play is better. You have more money being invested from the owners into the rosters. I still think that can improve. I still think it can get better. But I think you see with a team like Nashville SC, if you're really smart about how you invest in your roster, then you can put a team on the field that is just incredibly exciting and successful, right? You all three designated players are superstars: Walker Zimmerman, Hani Mukhtar, and Sam Surridge. And they've all hit little lulls here throughout their careers with Nashville SC, but you see it click now with the right coach and the right pieces around them, the right young players that have come into the team and really helped complement what they needed to do to get better. I mean, look, our team was pretty old a few years ago with Nashville SC, right? We needed to get younger. That team needed to get younger. They've gone and they've done that. They've got legs and fresh, lungs, for lack of a better expression, all over the pitch. And so the investment in the rosters is better. And then it's just the infrastructure. Ramon, back in 2006, when I turned pro, there were only 12 MLS teams, and there were only 2 or 3 soccer-specific stadiums. Wow. We were playing in football stadiums that housed 70, 80,000 people in front of 10 to 15,000. And it felt almost like a high school football game in a football stadium that was way too big, right? So the soccer-specific stadiums, the infrastructure, I don't know if you've ever been out to the Nashville SC training facility, but that's a multi-million-dollar world-class training facility that every player would dream to go to every day to train, okay? And so that just didn't happen back when I turned pro. And so I think the investment into the game in this country at the highest level has been wonderful and magnificent. I played for 19 years, and I wish I could have just held on for a little bit longer and kept playing for a couple more years, because there's no telling where the investment is going to stop with MLS and how good it's going to get.
He was born too soon, just like me. I heard trying to be an 80s baby and stuff. Come on, Dax. I say the same thing about the NFL, man. Gosh, we got backups. Never mind.
Look at him on his soapbox here.
Never mind.
Dax, last one for you. At Apple TV's Dax McCarty, our guest, former Nashville SC midfielder. What has to happen for Nashville to win a trophy this season? The U.S. Open Cup semifinal for the first time in club history now. That'll be in September. You mentioned the Supporter Shield race. They're second for that, best regular season record, and obviously going to be in the mix for MLS Cup. How do they continue this momentum and maybe even raise their level? What's got to happen over these next few months?
Well, they have to continue doing what they're doing right now in this moment, right? In the middle of the summer when the games are tough, BJ Callahan, he's getting the most out of this roster. He's getting the most out of every single player right now. But listen, with all due respect to the regular season, there's a sense of urgency, but maybe not a heightened sense of pressure, right? I mean, Nashville SC they're playing so free right now. And you know as well as I do, when the games get bigger towards the end of the season, the pressure ramps up. Guys can get tight. Guys can get a little bit nervous. Nashville SC can't do that. They can't do that in the biggest games. We've been so close in the past, and I say we because I'm mentioning our teams in the past that I was a part of, where we made it to an Eastern Conference semifinal and lost in penalties, right? We made it to an Eastern Conference semifinal and lost in extra time, right, to the Columbus Crew. Like, we've been close in the past. We lost in penalties in the Leagues Cup final to this Inter Miami team. And I think we were just missing a little bit of quality, a little bit of magic to really turn those games in our favor to be able to win and potentially win a trophy. So when the games get biggest and the pressure is the highest, Nashville SC and BJ Callahan, they just need to continue to do what they're doing right now in this moment. Don't change anything. What I really love about BJ and Nashville SC is that tactically they don't change whether they're at home or on the road. I would ask BJ Callahan, and I'm sure he will do this, when the playoffs roll around, right, if they make it to an Open Cup final, you got to keep playing the same way because that's exactly what got you here, okay? And so they won't play nervous. I don't see that in this group. It's just BJ Callahan's completely redirected the DNA of Nashville SC. They are no longer that plucky underdog who sits back and counterattacks and tries to hope and pray to win a game. They're a team that will attack you, and they will not stop until the 90th minute, till that final whistle blows. And so if they do that, if they can continue to maintain that form, if Sam Sturridge continues to lead the Golden Boot race because he's dangerous and he's getting chances left and right, Nashville SC will absolutely win a trophy this year.
Wow. He is Dax McCarty, former Nashville SC captain and midfielder, now on Apple TV, MLS 360. Kevin Egan, Bradley Wright Phillips, Sasha Kleshton, Kayla Kyle, the whole crew. They absolutely crush it. Dax, you're crushing it, man, in post-soccer life. Really great to hear you here on our airwaves, and we'll love to do it again soon. Hopefully we are going deep in the playoffs and talking NSC into football season a little bit. Really appreciate the time.
Love that. Yeah, thank you so much for having me, guys. Anything for you guys. Best of luck to Nashville SC this weekend. Should be a good one.
Love it.
Yeah, appreciate you, Dax.
Great stuff. There's Dax McCarty with us here this morning, talking a little bit of soccer. We appreciate him giving us a couple minutes there.
You hear Dax get passionate right there. Dax get passionate right there, man. That was good.
I love it.
Came in 06, 19 years, and he still want more. I love it.
He is one of the marathon men of MLS, and I mean that with the utmost confidence and the biggest compliment. Like, that is a hard sport to last in.
That's what I was thinking.
As much running as you're doing. Like, Eddie Taxett, who we mentioned right now, is near the top of MLS in distance covered. He's averaging about 7 to 7.5 miles per game.
Per game.
And you're playing about, at the top level, 35 to 40 games, and you throw in U.S. Open Cup and Champions Cup and Leagues Cup and all of the different things that you're playing as an athlete in this sport right now.
Yeah.
It's a lot of miles, and Dax did it at a high level for a very long time. Great broadcaster, too.
For that long, yeah.
He's crushing it. Love it.
Sense of pride there, man. Love it.
Good stuff. Absolutely right. 615-737-1045 if you want to get in on the discussion. We're streaming it live, 1045 The Zone TV. DJ from Nashville on YouTube says, loving the soccer coverage on the show. Appreciate you, DJ. And Vandy Man says, I'm glad Will hosts the show. Otherwise, we would never have soccer talk. LOL.
I mean,
that's all right.
Spot the lie.
That's what Lucas and I are here for, to bring the game to you. I mean, heck, 3HL was talking about it the other day.
They were.
Brent and Dawn were talking soccer.
I think it's because Mayor lost a bet or something like that.
No, it's because they're good.
I kid.
Because they're a dang good team. I love it. We're going to keep doing it, too. It's good stuff. Coming up, we'll catch you up on headlines this morning. Tennessee baseball getting some good news yesterday. We'll dive into that next. Wrapping up hour 3 on this Friday, Junior. We got the Ramona Will draft coming up in a half hour. We've had Coach Mack, Dax McCarty, a little bit of football on multiple continents discussed this morning. Let's get a little baseball in the mix, shall we?
Let's do it.
So Tennessee baseball earns a portal commitment yesterday from a Duke lefty. Duke, a solid baseball program to begin with anyway. In Mark Hindy. 6'4" lefty, appeared in 26 games last year. 4.66 ERA, decent, a little maybe below average, but ERA secondary, Ramon, to the fact that he struck out 38 batters in 29 innings.
Mm-hmm.
Check. Like that. Had pitched 3 seasons at William and Mary prior to making his way to Durham. Tony Vitello did a really interesting interview on the Sports Animal yesterday and mentioned about, some of the teams that were beating us last year, they were older than us. He said they were older, and we could have played better and coached better. A little bit of Rabel there from Vitello. But Vitello saying we had been pretty conservative in the portal to this point, and rosters have really gotten older, so I think we would have made that adjustment to begin with. Tennessee will be a lot older next season in baseball. The other part of it was really interesting from his interview on Sports Animal. Tony Vitello saying there's one school in our league that likes to make undercover offers to guys, and our 2 or 3 guys that were on the end of that have stayed strong. I think in general, there are extra conversations these days. However you want to frame them, I don't think that's really been an issue for us.
Yeah.
Strong words.
Winning helps, though, too.
It does help.
Winning helps a good bit, man. But he's cooking right now, too. I think it's 25 players lost right now because of the draft and also the portal.
And cutting down rosters to 34 players instead of being over 50 players.
Yeah, we had a conversation about that. What was it, 2 weeks before I left? About 2 weeks ago, you were saying that the multi-position player, pitcher, position
two-way players are becoming more valuable.
It's probably going to become more valuable moving forward. So parents, they're trying to make your kid into a one player only, let them do multiple things is what I would warn you of, because that 32-man roster is going to be unique to balance. But them picking up more hands, though, man, experienced hand. It's nerves involved in that, Will. It's the element of not being surprised is also the biggest thing. And then, of course, like you said, when you're dealing with guys or playing against teams that also have pretty much pros on their squad, says a lot about what you need to do. And they've said it also, Tony Vitello and his group, they've been very strategic in how they've chosen guys to come to play into Tennessee. But I will say this, too, as it pertains to Tony V, mentioning coaches or teams undercutting them. This is just the wave we're in. I don't think it's going to change anytime soon. You and I mentioned it just a little bit off air. We were just saying, like, even with the revenue sharing, the collectives, the boosters, everybody's going to come for you in some type of way. Like the fact that Dylan Lloyd went to LSU, that says a lot about what's happening. One, LSU wins, but LSU also's got a bag because they're known for baseball too. This is just the world that we're living in. But here's the other side for him. That level of sustaining wins, the way he's able to be as a coach and the type of players that you got to go get to, he's got to be strategic in that, because what I will say is this, you know what you're playing for when you have Tony V as your coach. Right. And you got to be able to possess that and also handle that pressure. And now you still got the bullseye on your back, too. You're not far away. You're 2 years removed now from a national championship. Right. Sustaining that.
Still a bullseye.
This is part of it. Other teams want players that come from championship programs or that were coached by really good guys. Right. It's a great problem to have, Tony V.
It's going to be interesting how much the talent curve flattens in baseball, because it's going to be harder for teams like Tennessee to just stockpile talent. Yeah. When you can only keep 34 guys and the transfer portal is as hot as it is and you are such a big-time program. Tennessee's got guys that were not touching the field this year who are going to be big-time contributors at Power 4 schools next year. I think Dylan Loy is one of those guys, lefty from Pigeon Forge, who committed to Georgia Tech over the weekend. Yep.
I thought it was
he was originally kind of leaning LSU, according to a lot of reports, but he ended up.
What happens when I go on vacation?
Going to Georgia Tech. I know.
That's tough.
That's all right. I got you.
That's me.
I'll keep you updated.
I appreciate that.
Tennessee, essentially, this Duke guy is their Dylan Loy replacement. Yeah. To the point, though, about talking about somebody else doing other undercover offers. Ben McKee, good friend of the show, put that out there, and Ben was fighting the good fight in his Twitter mentions of a lot of different SEC fan bases that are like, what? He's talking about us. Well, Ben said on Twitter, I don't think he's talking about LSU. Ben said, that doesn't surprise me. I don't see Jay Johnson doesn't need to text other players to say, come to us.
No.
Other players are texting Jay Johnson. I don't think any top-level program is what Tony is talking about. I think we're probably talking about a more mid-level SEC program. Ben also saying on Twitter, he's not talking about Texas or Vandy either. Tim Corbin ain't texting.
No,
current Tennessee players.
Tim don't have to reach out.
He doesn't need to.
You know who I can see that wants to get back to glory? South Carolina.
That is one school I thought would make a lot of sense in that. And considering how big of a jerk he was to a grounds crew, I'm always going to expect Kevin O'Sullivan to do stuff like this. I have no knowledge. Trust me. I have zero clue who Tony Vitello was talking about. I'm not speaking with any level of knowledge about who he is mentioning. I'm just taking a totally, probably irresponsible guess, and that's on me. I'm halfway joking saying that. But Kevin O'Sullivan was so mean to a grounds crew that he deserves bad karma, so I'll just throw his name out there.
But this is also, I've heard of also another SEC school that, I mean, there's probably a lot of schools that are doing it too. If you have players on your roster that are draft eligible, they're going to those guys, which is smart. It's like, okay, what round do you think you're going to be drafted in? Well, we'll give you basically your signing bonus for you to come play for us for this year.
Right.
Now, the thing that's super unique is it's such a hit and miss like business transaction because there's a lot of teams that stack up a lot of talent and hit the portal, and you still barely making out of regionals or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like being a good coach, I think is the biggest contributor to your success than just saying go get the players, especially in baseball.
Being a good coach or being an elite recruiter. I mean, Tony Vitello was one of the best recruiters in all of college sports.
Yeah.
Legitimately. Jason Swain has that take, our good friend in Knoxville, that he's the best recruiter in college athletics.
Yeah.
It's hard to argue against it with how quickly he built Tennessee from zero to what they are now is probably the second best program in college baseball over the last 5 years behind LSU.
He's who Lane Kiffin wants to be in football.
That's a great way to look at it.
He always takes a shot for me. My bad, Lane. Look, I got a young offensive lineman.
No, don't apologize. Lean in.
But like
what he did to our alma mater?
That's true.
You don't need to apologize to Lane Kiffin. He'll be all right. He can take it.
Yeah.
He knows he did us dirty and set us back years too. It's all right.
And laughed about it.
He'll get over it.
LA. He will. But like to me, when you talk about like guys that have a persona and reputation and just, hey, you want to go play for that
fiery, young kind of recruiter type.
The one that the moms can't wait to meet on recruiting visits. I can say that. Yeah. Okay. But like you that's who I feel like the projection of Lane wants to be. Point.
Tony Vitello is what Lane Kiffin wants to be and thinks he is.
Yeah. That was
he's Lane Kiffin with a national championship ring.
And that's the point.
Yeah. He's had postseason success that Lane has not had.
And like I said, my biggest thing was that come to the SIP thing had crazy momentum behind it. And you netted no college
football. It's not for high schoolers.
Yeah. Not for high schoolers.
Come to the SIP is great for transfer portal players, but until Ole Miss can recruit high schoolers at a more significant rate against Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, Michigan, and Texas.
They got to win
Good
this
luck.
state. And I know that's tough to say, but...
Well, you got to do more than just win that state, though, because while Mississippi high school football is good, it is not nearly as fertile of a recruiting ground as Georgia.
It ain't as deep.
As Texas.
It ain't as deep.
That Florida, as Ohio. Like, no, it's a middle of the road state in high school football in this country.
But the only reason I bring that up is because I feel like there has to be a sense of pride of playing for the state school. Though,
well,
too.
sure, but you have to do more than just that. Like same way for Tennessee.
But
Tennessee cannot win a national championship by just recruiting the state of Tennessee.
I agree, but having guys from the state that understand the way they play, like I don't think Ole Miss has that. Like to me, it feels like a melting pot of. I mean, and it's recruiting.
I agree. I see exactly what you're saying.
You see what I'm saying?
Like FSU last season was filled with portal guys. And the second things get tough, those guys are more likely to check out.
And that's
you can't build the foundation of a contending college football program with portal. Exactly. Ask Lincoln Riley and USC how that went for him the last 2 years, too.
I mean.
And now he's recruiting high schoolers. And USC has the #1 recruiting class in the country for 2026. They have learned the error of their ways.
Think about what happened in California when their top start leaving. Like, look at SC. Look at UCLA. Look at the schools that are now losing to players that's going out of state.
Yeah, the challenge with that, though, still for like a school like Ole Miss, like the second choice guys out of California are still better than a lot of the best players of Mississippi.
I'm just talking about the foundation.
Excluding the top 1 or 2 5 stars that most states get every other year, every third year, stuff like that. Like the second tier of player in California is still better than most states' best players.
Oh, yeah. Always be recruiting.
That's right, ABC. 615-737-1045. What ESPN.com writers said based off scouts, coaches, and executives ranking the top edge rushers in the NFL. We got that list for you coming up next. Hey, it's Will Bowling. Do you have a plumbing issue at home? It's one of those things we always put off as long as possible, right? Well, whether that is a leaky faucet, a clogged drain, or just a water heater that has gone cold, the plumbing professionals at Lee Company have you covered. Available 24/7 year-round, Lee Company's licensed technicians can save you time, money, and all the stresses that come with an ill-timed plumbing issue. Contact their award-winning team at leecompany.com. You can call them 615-567-1000. And the best part about having Lee Company on your team is the variety of skills that they have. HVAC, plumbing, electrical systems, maybe just that to-do list you got. You hand that to Lee Company, they take care of it. So give the list to my good friends at Lee Company. Let them take care of your plumbing needs from top to bottom in your home. Contact them online at leecompany.com. That's 615-567-1000. Lee Company, all you need.
It is 9:03. Good morning, live from the 104.5 The Zone studios. I'm Justin Hawkins. Nashville Soccer Club, they're moving on to the U.S. Open Cup semifinals after a 5-2 win last night over DC United at Geodis Park. Their unbeaten streak continues to 15 matches now. It took a second-half surge led by Sam Surge's 2 goals to power the boys in golds to the win. After being down 2-1 to start the second half, Jonathan Perez, Andy Nahar, and Walker Zimmerman also got on the scoring sheet for Nashville. The semifinals, they're set for later in September, and they'll face the winner of the Philadelphia Union and the New York Red Bulls. Next up for Nashville is a matchup this Saturday night at 6:30 p.m. against Lionel Messi and Inter Miami FC in Fort Lauderdale. In NBA news, the Phoenix Suns yesterday signed Devin Booker to a 2-year, $145 million max contract extension that'll go through the 2029 and 2030 season. Booker's deal is the highest annual average salary in NBA history, surpassing Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in Oklahoma City at $72.5 million per year. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Balls. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Ramona Will, 104.5 The Zone is fueled by Scooters Coffee. Visit a locally owned Scooters Coffee near you in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. Justin Hawkins making the show happen. Ramon Foster and Will Bowling. The Ramon and Will draft goes to best logos in sports. Coming up here in just about 15 minutes.
And I promise not to be biased, too.
Okay.
I promise not to be biased.
There is one Tennessee logo on my board. That makes it challenging, though, because Tennessee has so many good athletic logos.
Yeah.
You got a lot of options.
Jayhawk just told me no pandering. So I went.
Of course we're
I'm
pandering.
just, I know, right?
We
Like,
also
what are
just
we
love
doing?
the Vols.
I only said that because I pandered last.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I think I lost the last one,
I
too.
did take the win.
You did.
I took the W in our first Ramon and Will draft.
You did, dog.
We will get to the best logos in sports coming
I
up
ain't
in
even
15
mad
minutes.
at it. I'm supposed to win because I got the most followers. Clearly, I just chose wrong is what it was.
Yeah, I think so.
I need to solicit myself.
We need to
Only
get
my
some more
second ever
voters
win.
in there.
We gotta do something. I gotta do something. I can't lose like this all the time.
Tough.
What are we doing allowing Will to win?
Couldn't be my draft.
He had a good one last time.
I did have a good one. I'm going to get
will not
Ramon hooked on the new college football video game.
You are.
Because I've downloaded a playbook. Coach Dan Casey on Twitter always does a really cool playbook.
What up, Coach?
And I have a formation that does the Penn State tackle escort play is what they call it, where they put an offensive lineman as a second tight end in motion. Get that guy running downhill and just clock somebody. So now the thing I love the most about the new video game is it used to be linemen against DBs and safeties when they got downfield for screens or for pin and pull or for like a pull and guard. It would just engage like a regular block.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's a 180-pound corner. That guy is not holding up against a 320-pound guard.
Yeah.
Well, now the guard gets going downhill and hits a DB flattened every single time. Like it's a full pancake.
Finally something
where
for
when
us.
the guards actually get outside against a smaller DB, that guy is going into the dirt. And I can just see Ramon just, let's go, David Sanders, hit him.
You best believe it. What's even cooler is the fact that 3HL had the guy that plays the lineman on the EA games on their show. So I think
What do
him
you
right
mean?
now. I don't. So the guy that wears like the black suit with like the green dots on his
Yeah.
body, they had him on the show for an interview,
that's
and he was
awesome.
speaking about that. So that's him.
Nice.
That's emulating that. So I'm glad that he's cleaning bodies up on his way to touchdowns. Will,
I like it.
That's what I'm talking about, man.
It's so fun.
I got to go up there. I'll be
I'm
honest.
not good yet, but it's really fun.
My youngest has been locked in. Now, he's on the video game, but he's got practice workouts in the morning. He's handling his business around the house. As long as he's handling is not yelling at the game, I'm good to go. But I asked him, I'm like, Miles, how is it? And he's just simple thumbs up. I'm like, hey, I got to get up there
Speechless.
sometime. Yeah, he's speechless. I was like, is it good? Or is it all right? He's like, Dad, it's really
so
good.
fun.
I get to talk to my kids about video games, and will.
I love it. Executives, coaches, and scouts ranking the top 10 edge rushers in the NFL for 2025, and Myles Garrett is number one again.
Yeah.
He earned at least 70% of the first-place votes now in back-to-back years. I feel like, Ramon, there are 4 guys at edge rusher right now that are in a league of their own. Really, you could even say 3, but I'll throw the 4th one in there as well. 4 players received first-place votes from NFL executives who spoke with Jeremy Fowler of ESPN.com. Myles Garrett, T.J. Watt, Micah Parsons, Max Crosby. Fair to say it's those 4 than everyone else in that position right now?
Man,
Maybe even the top 3. Is Crosby in the same league as those top 3?
The third one you named is more in that conversation than Micah is. Micah is a ex-player. I feel like he's an off-ball linebacker more than he is a rusher. Like, his ability for success is because of how he was born and built, to be quite honest with you.
In a lot of ways, he is what you hope Femi Oladejo can become a miniature version of.
You best believe it, man. So I can't hate too much on the idea of him being an edge guy, but I do look at that situation and say, like, those dudes that he's up against aren't built like – TJ's a tall guy. Myles Garrett's a tall guy. You look at Max Crosby is a totally different guy. Like, they win off the line of scrimmage than they do bouncing around the defense. So, yeah, that's a great group. If you can have a Micah Parsons on your squad, absolutely. But looking at him rush, he's more of a linebacker than he is an edge. Does that make sense to you? Or am I splicing hairs a little bit too much?
No, I think it makes sense.
Yeah, like, that's the way I view it more than anything. So, but yeah, I'm taking him on my squad. He's a first-round draft pick, 100%.
Unless I'm missing something, why are we leaving Trey Hendrickson off the list?
I think Trey Hendrickson is too low. I completely agree.
He's got 2 years straight of 17.5 sacks.
Yeah, that's true.
That's fair.
That's true.
He doesn't have the overall production over as long of a period of time as those top 3 in their whole careers, or as those top 4 in their whole careers. To me, maybe I'm wrong on that. Maybe I need to do a little more digging on that.
He's better than Max Crosby.
Trey knows how to win in a non-sexy way. Trey wins against you, and it's just like, oh, another sack. TJ gets a sack, he jumps up in the air, you know it. And the other side for me, too, is I think it's when Trey Hendrickson gets his. Trey gets his on, like, 2nd and 7 instead of, like, it being 3rd down, game-winning types of sacks that he gets. Like, you look at Myles, you look at TJ, you look at Micah. They're sack-fumbling guys. I feel like his is very dang good is the way you view Trey Hendrickson, if that makes sense to you. Like, he don't kill you with speed, he kills you more with power. Those other guys kill you with speed, and you're scared every single play against them.
Sure.
That's the way I view. He ain't the boogeyman to me the way the other 4 guys that you mentioned are.
So I'll tell you why they've got Crosby where they do. They say Crosby's making waves in the pass rush pantheon. That's a good phrase. Vaulting 1 spot in each of the last 3 years. Outdistancing Nick Bosa and stealing votes from Watt and Parsons is tough. Nearly half of Crosby's votes landed in the top 3. His 324 pressures since 2019 are more than any other player by 40 pressures. Relentless motor, skilled rusher, and never wants to leave the game. Keeps getting better and better. Crosby's lack of support up front also enhances his profile. While Crosby has 59.5 sacks since 2019, no other Raiders player has more than 10 during that span. Woof. The reason why they've got Hendrickson at 6,
You see it?
Hendrickson behind Nick Bosa. I think Hendrickson should be ahead of Nick Bosa. I think Bosa is a sexier player than Hendrickson is,
Bosa's
and I don't really know why.
A bigger name to me.
He is a bigger name, no doubt about it.
I'm moving him down. I'm moving Bosa down to 9 right before Jared Verse.
Hendrickson says, Hendrickson's quotes from NFL execs, his 17.5 sacks, his 2nd consecutive season posting that number, is 49% of Cincinnati's total production. 32% of the team's overall pressures, making him the only defender to have recorded a pressure share above 30%. 4 straight Pro Bowls, undoubtedly one of the best free agency signings of the last decade, ESPN.com's Jeremy Fowler says. AFC Scout says his ability to get to the quarterback by any means necessary is truly impressive. He can beat you with technique and relentless motor. Some voters believe, here's the reasoning why Crosby is higher.
I ain't even see this part.
Some voters believe Hendrickson does not possess the same high-end traits as those in the top tier, but he's so wildly productive that they can't hate on him. Quote, he's probably taken for granted a little bit, an NFL evaluator said. Elite player all the way. Why do we care about traits so much in the NFL? Like, the guy's got 2 straight seasons with 17.5 sacks. Shouldn't that be what matters?
It gets the people going.
Sure, but it gets people going about young players that have potential. But he has seen his potential through to be a 17.5 sack guy at 30.
It's because he just goes to work. Some people love that type, but a lot of people want to see Myles Garrett crossing somebody over before he gets the sack. A lot of people want to see T.J. Watt against a right tackle in said game in Pittsburgh where he strip fumbles him and also jumps up and gets the fumble recovery too. Some people love seeing Max Crosby throw his arms out wide when he gets a sack and it strikes fear in that opposing team's fan base. Like, I don't think Trey Hendrickson does that, but I'm taking him on my team undoubtedly every single time because I know he's going to get the job done. It just ain't sexy. You say what you want to, but like, that matters in the eyes of the teams. And I also would say, too, it's probably why Cincinnati looks at him and says, well, we'll just go find another one again.
Yeah, right.
When you don't have that
not the high-end traits.
You know what I'm saying?
And the unbelievable get-off or the strength to power to just overwhelm a tackle and bull rush him. Like, he does everything well, but he's a jack of all trades, master of none.
You see what I'm saying? It makes the team feel like, well, this is the product of the system, and we'll just find another guy to go do that. Which
is totally unfair.
It's so unfair. But when you speak about Michael Parsons, though, or T.J. Watt.
It's like, no, you're one of one. There's not a lot of people that can do what you do.
Myles Garrett.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or how we now are looking at Jarrett Verse like, oh, he's so young doing it. You know what I'm saying? So it sucks, but that's just how it goes.
Coming up, it is time for our second Ramon and Will draft of the summer. One of the best logos in sports, past and present. We'll do a snake draft for them next. Ramona Willow, 104.5 The Zone, Hour 4 on this Thursday morning. Friday Junior, how we know it, here on the program. Ramon Foster, Justin Hawkins, Will Bowling. Time for the Ramon and Will draft. Part 2. Best logos in sports. What are the best logos in the history of sports?
I might get booed for some of mine.
Oh, interesting. Okay. What's the worst logo?
What's the worst
any
logo?
Bad logo? I can think of one specifically.
Worst logo.
The new Kentucky logo is the worst logo in sports.
I'm gonna be real with you.
Looks like two pigeons having an intimate moment together.
I used to think the Seattle Kraken logo was super dope, but that ass looked like a slimy snake almost.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I used to think it was legit. I was close to getting a jersey. I thought it was sweet in the beginning, but now I look at it in hindsight and I'm like, yeah, you kind of missed the mark a little bit on that one.
Okay.
Not really, but like, I like the octopus side of it more than I do like that slimy looking green.
Okay.
Yeah, it looked like a snake almost to me more than anything.
Fair enough.
So. But I got some good ones.
All right, are we ready to spin the wheel?
Who won last
Let's
time?
do it.
You
I won last time. Let's just do random every time. Just see who goes first.
All right, we'll say I when the teacher's taking a
All
roll.
right, rolling now. Who is going to get the first pick? Spinning, spinning, spinning. Justin gets the first pick. Jayhawk gets pick number 1. All right. So you go first. Second will
I love
be
that sound.
between myself and Ramon. Still spinning, still spinning. It is me. I will go second.
Oh, so I get a double pick though.
Ramon will get the third pick. Yeah. All right. So I think for the graphic, Justin, on this, we can just post pictures of the logos instead of describing them.
That's simple.
A little bit of a longer work process,
like that.
but worth it. Mm-hmm. All right. So we'll probably have to put out this poll then after the show because that will take a little bit to put all of this together. So we'll get that up right after the show. At Ramona Will, or you can follow us on Twitter. All right, Justin, let's see it. Justin goes pick number 1.
All right, so I don't know about you guys. I love retro logos.
I do too.
And to me, one of my favorite logos of all time, because it fits just about anywhere, it's the 1996 to 2016 logo of the Anaheim Mighty Ducks.
It was on my list.
That was my first pick.
Love
I was
that
on my
one.
I hate
list.
you, Justin.
No, you don't. You love me.
Mighty Ducks, 1-1. It's a great pick.
Striking that one off
It's
the
a
list.
great pick.
Striking that one off the list.
All right. That was number 3 on my board. I still get my number 1 pick, though.
Okay.
Which I'm happy with. My number 1 overall pick is Pat the Patriot.
Really?
Old school New England Patriots logo, hand in the dirt, the colonial hat on, grimace. There's going to be a theme with a lot of my picks, and this is part of it. But I love Pat the Patriot. I think it is the best logo in sports to me.
Okay.
Absolutely best logo in sports with like the red coat, everything. Oh,
It's a great one.
it's such a good logo. Or the blue
I hate
coat,
the
guess, not
Patriots,
red
but
coat.
I like the
You know,
logo.
I'm with you. All right, so that is pick number 2 overall. Ramon, you've got 2 picks in a row.
I got 2 in a row here. Let's go. First one up for me. Y'all gonna hate this one, but I absolutely love it. Probably one of the first hats I ever bought with my college Pell Grant.
Okay.
The New York Yankees. Nate.
Yeah, it's classic.
It's so.
I figured somebody would pick that. I wasn't going to do it.
I know.
Because I hate them.
I told you I would be hated.
But I figured
especially.
somebody would do it.
The Yankee blue logo on the baseball cap does it.
Pretty
for me.
dang good.
It's solid, man.
Pretty dang good. That is a hat that, I mean, anywhere around the world, you will see a Yankees hat in any country out there.
It just does it for me.
Is that the most recognizable logo in all of sports?
I would have to. Jerry Jones would fight you over it, but I think the Yankees logo definitely. Well, the Cowboys
I feel like it's Yankees.
Yeah.
I think it's Yankees.
Or the LA Dodgers.
I was going to say Dodgers is up there too. Yankees got to be most recognizable. And then you get into soccer, and Manchester United and Real Madrid, I think, would be next.
Yeah.
Which Yankees logo do you like better? You just talking about the NY, or you like the actual the baseball?
That's the answer. The NY.
Okay. The NY is the only one, really.
Yeah, that's the only one that comes to mind.
The retro one with the whatever his name is, Sam.
I have to look it
Whatever
up.
the USA,
about.
on the baseball bat.
Yeah.
You just mean the NY.
Oh, I know what you mean. Yeah, with the old school hat, red, white, and blue hat. Yeah, I know. The NY is the one for me.
Uncle Sam. I don't know.
Yeah,
I can think of it.
Uncle Sam hat. My second pick,
Ramon.
This is a childhood one for me.
Okay.
This is also a starter jacket one for me. Chicago Bulls.
Yeah, no, classic again. Classic again. You got great value in the beginning of the second round there in Chicago.
You know what I'm saying? Like I gotta cook now. I gotta cook.
Okay.
Chicago Bulls.
I like it. That is not a bad one at all. So to me, the NBA has some good logos going back into history a little bit. Like, big fan of a lot of the different older logos, because the history of the NBA, and like even go back to ABA and stuff like that, like there's some solid ones out there, but none of them are better than the red dinosaur with the purple claw and circle behind the Toronto Raptors old logo. It's
telling you the retro ones.
The purple claw with Toronto and then the black circle and gray letters of Raptors and the red dinosaur dribbling the basketball in his right hand. I think Vince Carter. I think about the NBA dunk contest. Yeah. I think Bulls is a great first NBA logo to go off this board. Raptors has got to be the second best logo in the NBA.
Not a lot, Toad. Not a single lot. You're cooking right now. You're making this a very competitive race right now is what I'm telling you.
All of these very solid picks.
Yeah,
sometimes there's been a stinker by this point already in the end of the second round. There are no hot takes in this so far.
Understood the assignment on this
Absolutely
one.
right.
Yes.
Absolutely right. All right, Justin, you got 2 in a row for your second round and third round picks.
Yeah, I don't like this because I was going to go the Raptors right here. So we'll stay in the NBA. And simply because these retro logos are great, but I'm going with the Vancouver Grizzlies.
Yeah, again, classic.
These retro logos are just much better than the current one.
100%. The green too is that's a unique color.
A teal,
nobody looks like that anymore in American sports.
Yeah, easy.
That's not a Panda pick. That's just a great.
No, yeah, well, that's Vancouver.
That's Vancouver, Grizzlies.
Well, but,
Brian Big Country Reeves was on that team right there, man, back in the day. Whatever happened to his career?
They should, we could also do a list one day of, throwback jerseys that should be permanent. The Grizzlies should just go back to that color scheme.
Easily.
Just ditch the blue, go back to that color scheme. Just be what you were in Vancouver. Just rebrand it. They're not going to do that.
I want the Ducks to go back to the Mighty Ducks.
Well, yeah, that's true.
The green.
That too. They've started wearing that logo more, I feel like.
They are. They actually reinvented it this year.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. More you know. Justin, your third round pick, please.
Okay, I could go a lot of ways here. For me, I like logos with hidden images.
I do too.
So this one's a little bit off the beaten path, but it's retro. The Hartford Whalers.
Oh, yeah, good one.
I don't know that one.
Good one. An H and a W, and it looks like a whale tail.
Yes. That's why you're going to lose right there.
Hey, we're not.
Yeah, that might hurt your ability to win the poll, though, I will say, Justin. Yeah. You are right. That's a good logo, but you got to pander a little bit if you want to win the poll.
Just a smidge, either the childhood or region. You chose New England Whalers on this one. I'm feeling good
Hartford
now.
Whalers.
Hartford, they were the New England is what I saw. I had to go look them up real quick.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks like Seattle to me too.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It does. All right, fair enough.
I'm feeling good about the poll results.
I'm about to feel even better by the poll results.
No, you're not.
Because I'm going local for my next pick. See, I have a logo that is above this one on my board, but I know neither of y'all are going to pick it. Or Ramon's not going to pick it because I just got to survive 2 picks of yours. So I can let that stay where it is for right now because I know that it's my 4th pick.
Okay.
But the Tennessee Rifleman is my 3rd pick.
That's solid.
The Rifleman logo is... There are so many good Tennessee logos. The Rifleman... I'm not going to give y'all ammo. What am I doing? I shouldn't be giving you guys options of what to pick. The Tennessee Rifleman logo is a top tier logo. I've got a bunch of friends. I've got a friend that went to Auburn, my old roommate, who's like, man, if I was a Tennessee fan, I would wear that Rifleman logo all the time.
I am.
You're gonna be rocking the Rifleman this year in press boxes around the SEC
for the first crisp. You hear me? Fall game. Your boy gonna be rocking the sweatshirt. I'm not sure what uniforming this thing is, Mike Keith. But if I got an option on sweatshirts, your boy is a crew neck savant. Do you hear me? I can't wait to rock them.
So the exact one I am looking for the picture is the Rifleman with the VOLS star because that's one big logo.
Yeah.
So the Tennessee Rifleman with the VOLS and the star in the O is my third pick.
It's the only option.
Yes, that's the one.
Because you could just do the Rifleman. Because there's a lot of volunteer traditions gear that I love that's just the Rifleman without the VOLS. But
this one,
I want
not
both.
this one.
Yeah, exactly.
This one, not
There's
this
one with just Tennessee under it. I'm not talking about that one. I'm talking about the one with the VOLS.
Yeah, the one we put the letters back on the stadium.
Elite.
I know y'all can't see this on the radio, but I ain't ever seen a football player one with Vols on it right there. Will, you seeing it? That one in the middle.
I've not seen that.
I ain't seen it. I feel like somebody made that one at home.
Sure. All right, Ramon, your final 2 picks, please.
My final 2 picks.
3rd and 4th round. Best logos in sports, if you're just joining us.
My third selection, the Buccaneers logo with the sword and
oh, so good.
The creamsicle?
Creamsicle.
Yep.
Creamsicle.
So good. Okay.
Yeah. That one gets me. I like that one. I'm gonna be real with you.
Very good. That is, we've done the draft of throwback jerseys already. I feel like we could even do it again. But the creamsicle Bucks jersey is a top tier NFL jersey.
It is.
And I just love orange to begin with, for obvious reasons. But that is a good use of the color orange.
Because they play in a warm weather state,
That's
they should
right.
probably play with that jersey all the time.
I love it.
Okay.
Totally love it.
I'm not wrong in that one. I told you I felt good about this draft.
All right, your final pick, please.
Final pick. It's because my wife loves me in this.
Oh,
okay. And
good.
it's so clean. It's so crisp. St. Louis Cardinals, STL.
Okay.
The STL
Didn't expect
Cardinals cap. I'm probably I'm gonna lose some votes because of that one.
Got a
No, I
lot
don't
of
think
Braves
so.
fan out here.
But
There's a lot of Cardinals fans in Nashville. You'll get a lot of votes
Cardinals-
just for that one.
The Cardinals STL is clean as heck.
See, I don't even think that's their best logo.
You don't?
I think the Cardinals sitting on the bat would have been a stronger choice. But you already picked it now, so just go for it.
Don't do me like that, Wood.
The STL, I mean, the Cardinals sitting on the bat is legendary.
Yeah,
but that's
it
fine.
is. And plus, I just got one
your
for
funeral.
Father's Day too.
Okay.
Yeah, I love that cap.
How many different baseball teams do you have memorabilia for?
I would, to be quite honest with you, St. Louis may be number one because I got to go all the way back to high school on that.
Yeah, well,
Plus,
that's
it's
Memphis.
regional.
That's West Tennessee's baseball team.
It is.
The rest of the state
Tennessee's.
has the Braves, and then you get the Cardinals because of the Redbirds.
Cardinals, Pittsburgh, the Pirates is on this list too as an honorable mention. Pirates is on
we
there.
haven't done undrafted picks yet. We might still take that.
Well, okay. Well, let me go ahead and say St. Louis, and then I would throw the Cardinals, and then for some reason I've adopted the Padres.
Okay.
I just love
enough.
that stadium.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
My final pick, I'm so glad made it this far down the board. I thought it probably would because I didn't think that you guys would pick it. And it is my favorite logo in college athletics. It is my absolute favorite logo in college athletics.
Okay.
The Tulane Angry Wave.
Thought it.
I'm going a little bit off the beaten path with this. He has a mohawk that's a wave, Ramon. He has a mohawk that's literally a blue wave, and he's a green guy looking down, grimacing like, why I oughta. And he's holding a megaphone in his other hand that says Tulane. He's doing everything. He's literally, the moon is controlling his hair with his waves, and he's still going to beat you up. I love this logo. I love everything about old school Tulane stuff. Their old UT logo is super cool, even though they're not UT, but I'd give them that before I gave it to Texas. And their color scheme, it looks like the ocean. It's very New Orleans. It's very Louisiana. It's light blue. It's green. I think they have got the best uniform look in all of college football. I really, really do. If I was picking my favorite color scheme and logo and uniform, all that stuff, Tulane's got it.
What's crazy?
Tulane's absolutely got it.
You've mentioned them a lot. Are they your junior team?
Sure.
They can be.
Tajay Spears, Shaquan Jackson. Tell me what I need to know. They always do that. They do like a false start signal. Roll wave.
Roll wave.
Roll wave, baby. Tulane football.
I'm going to go ahead and
Who do we play this year? Who do we hate?
That is your junior team.
I got to ask Stephen Godfrey. We're going to have Godfrey on next week. Got to ask Godfrey what I need to know as a new Tulane fan.
Yeah.
That's the UT junior that I really like.
And then if you look at the logo, like he got one of his fist balls.
Yeah,
up too.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
I'm just now dissecting
He's got a
this.
wave mohawk.
Yeah.
It's sick. Anyway, so Justin, the one I want is with the blue mohawk. The blue mohawk, or I walk.
With the horn in his hand? Too?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right, cool.
Absolutely. All right, Justin, your final pick.
Gosh, this is hard.
It is very hard. There's so much value still on the board. So much value.
There is a lot
I've
of
got
value.
several options.
Okay.
Only get one, though.
I know you
Unless
hush your
you're
mouth.
trading picks away.
Trading picks.
for a pick to be named later. For a logo to be named later.
Oh, a 2034
My
pick.
next, my
Ramon's
next,
got cash considerations for you.
my next draft is 5 rounds.
Oh, all right. Okay.
I feel like I need to pander a little bit.
That's up to you.
Don't be wrong.
There's a lot of good value on the board.
Don't be wrong.
You got me thinking after I chose the Hartford Whalers, and people may not know a lot. Now, of course, we're
correct.
putting these pictures out. We're not putting necessarily the names
we're not saying
out.
what it is. We're just putting out the pictures. That's right.
So if I pander, and we're going old school because I don't, except for a few of the selections, I think I got to go the Oil Derrick.
I thought somebody would take that.
Look at Ramon shaking his head.
No, it's because there's one mention in our YouTube chat that I should be kicked out of the studio for.
So you want Houston Oil Derrick?
The Houston Oils.
Okay.
Oilers.
Houston Oilers. I like it.
Houston Oilers.
And Tennessee Oilers. Lovely.
Yeah, right.
All right. I like it. So final picks are Justin's got Mighty Ducks, Vancouver Grizzlies, Hartford Whalers, and the Oil Derrick. I've got Pat the Patriot, the Raptors red dinosaur with the purple behind it, the Tennessee Rifleman logo with the VOLS, and the Tulane Angry Wave. Ramon has New York Yankees, Chicago Bulls, Tampa Bay Bucks, St. Louis Cardinals. You just basically made a bandwagon fans logos, Ramon.
That sound like a Patriots fan.
There's got to be somebody out there who is a Yankees fan, retiree in Tampa, who likes the Bucks, cheered for the Bulls in the 90s, who's a Cardinals fan. That person definitely exists.
That person comes out of Lexington, Kentucky.
They love Kentucky basketball. The Wildcats are going all the way this year. Oh, that's
Best
great.
believe it, man.
All right, what do we miss?
Speaking of the Wildcats, I do thoroughly like the old Kentucky Wildcat.
The UK or the Wildcat itself?
The UK
itself.
with the Wildcat coming through the U.
Okay. All right, you're entitled to your wrong opinion, but that's fine.
It's a whole lot better than what it is now.
What other? The new Kentucky logo looks like two pigeons on top of each other.
Yeah, that looks bad.
It's not good.
I'm going to be real.
It's not good at all.
Go back to the brown cat. Yeah.
So I almost chose the Notre Dame Leprechaun.
I thought about that one. Thought about that one.
But I had to pander.
Was on my list.
Miami Pelican. What is that?
I was just going to do the U.
The U.
The U is iconic.
It is.
I thought that was almost my third pick.
Yo.
But I had to go Rifleman. Had to pander.
I feel you.
For my draft, instead of going iconic like the Dallas Cowboys, for instance, I wanted to go for a more like cool looking logo just in itself.
fair
Like,
enough.
what would you rather see versus what do you know more of?
Exactly. I agree.
We missed out on
Ramon did
Miami.
the opposite.
Yeah. We missed out on the Miami one. I'm being real.
Yeah.
What was on your board?
The Pirates. I kept my list short.
The pirate with the bandana on over the bat is elite. Mm-hmm. I thought that would make the list.
Yep.
That is an elite one.
Pittsburgh
Absolutely.
Penguins is good too.
I know. There's a lot of hate. I get it. It's okay. You can swallow the throw up.
What do we miss? 615-737-1045. You guys can make undrafted picks as well.
The one that's so iconic for me, it was mentioned in our chat, but the Stone Cold Steve Austin skull. I was a huge WWF.
I had to look that up.
Listen to me. It's iconic for an era that was the attitude of WWF. Stone Cold's logo, his shirts, all his like merch that he sold. We couldn't even wear shirts to school, Will. Like Austin 316, open up a can of Whoop. Oh my God. They banned shirts from school. No other wrestler had that.
Stone Cold said so.
The Generation X.
That's the bottom line, Ramon.
Because Stone Cold says so.
That's right.
What?
My undrafted.
What?
Save that. Clip that. That's a drop. That's a drop. Instead of Stone Cold Steve Austin saying it, we just have Ramon going, what?
What?
That's right. My undrafted picks, Boston Celtics.
Yes.
The guy standing on the basketball with the pipe in his hand or cigar in his hand. So we had one commenter on YouTube say the Atlanta Hawks Pac-Man logo. That's not even the best Atlanta Hawks logo.
Which one's the best one?
The Hawk sitting on the basketball is better than the Pac-Man Hawk logo, and I will die on that hill.
Okay.
Like, I think of Dominique playing in those jerseys with the Hawk and the wings outstretched on the front of the jersey. That is an elite uniform. The Angry Oregon Duck. I love an angry animal. That's the theme of all of my picks. The angry duck shaking his fists, stepping through the O logo.
Yeah.
Oregon has just got some outstanding logos. You can go through a ton of old Oregon and like the UO.
Yeah.
Also for Oregon, they put on their throwback helmets. Elite.
That's elite. You're right there in that conversation. In simple terms, I do got to give him a little bit. The Cowboy star.
Yeah, Cowboy star. I thought somebody would take it.
I didn't want to give him too much praise. Cowboy star is in that conversation.
Couple of submissions on YouTube. Boomer Sooner says retro Detroit Pistons with the horse. How did nobody pick that one?
It's a good one, but it's not my favorite.
Oh, it's so good. So good.
Maybe it's the colors.
I love Detroit Pistons with the horse.
Yeah. That's a great logo.
Grant Hill.
I know.
Oh, my God. Yep. That is one.
With
100%.
like the teal in the background.
Can I say this without ruffling too many feathers? I don't like the basketball Detroit Pistons logo.
I don't know. It's not as good as what they used to be.
No, absolutely not.
Not as good as what they used to be. With the horse is iconic.
One more, because their program sucks though right now, the organization. But the Washington Nationals W is a clean one.
No,
Yeah.
no.
That
Stop.
cursive W
They just
does
took
it.
the Walgreens logo and tried to make it a baseball team. Stop it, because the Montreal Expos, that was a proper logo before they became the Washington National. That's an F tier logo. No, I'm putting my foot down on that
The script W on that one.
No,
Will.
it's
I'm
just
be real.
Walgreens.
The script W
It's just
is
I'll go and
solid.
see it when I need to fill my prescription next. Go get some vitamins.
How they catch a stray this morning,
Well,
man?
because you brought them up. That
I'm
wasn't a
telling
stray.
you, that is a solid logo.
The catch
my brother.
flight is
I
going
like
to be
that
direct.
one. I love
Jamie
that one.
mentions the Chattanooga Lookouts. That is a great minor league baseball logo
See that one.
with just the eye. It's just basically the eye emojis and a C.
Okay.
Chattanooga Lookouts. That's where I
Well, if
called
that's
my.
the case, you got to throw Western Kentucky in there then.
Yeah, Western Kentucky, solid with the towel.
Western's very solid.
Will the Thrill on Twitch says San Jose Sharks, solid. Jonathan on YouTube says Tampa Bay Devil Rays. Ooh, that's a good
Can
one.
we throw a little hate in here?
Sure.
Old school Memphis State.
Yeah.
Easily.
Tiger High.
Easily.
Tiger High logo
Easily.
making the list.
Easily.
Coming up, your submissions. What are the best logos in sports? 615-737-1045. We'll get to your calls rapid fire after the break.
Did you know that up to 50% of the air you breathe in your home comes from your crawl space? Well, have you ever looked in your crawl space? I get it. Most of us don't even want to know what's in there. But moisture in your crawl space can create unhealthy issues that can make their way into the air you breathe every day in your home. It's Ramon Foster, and this is where United Structural Systems can help you. USS has been keeping homes dry and stable in Middle Tennessee since 1994, so you know they aren't going anywhere. When I talk about USS, I'm telling you, control moisture and musty smells with mold treatment and crawl space encapsulation that comes with the USS guarantee. Encapsulation helps reduce high humidity in your crawl space. It also helps deter mold and mildew and protects your crawl space from the pests and wood rot. Okay, so turn your crawl space into a healthy space. Call United Structural Systems for all your foundation repair and waterproofing need, or just simply go to their website at ussTN.com. That's ussTN.com. The phone number is 615-488-7855. United Structural Systems.
Ramona Will, 104.5 The Zone, wrapping up the show on this Thursday. Best logos in sports. What we have just drafted for you. Justin Hawkins, our producer. Ramon Foster, Will Bowling. To the phones. What do we miss? Troy is first up. Hey, Troy.
What up, Troy?
What's going on?
What's
I got
up?
the New York Mets
Mets.
with the head of the baseball, with the baseball head, and the OG Al Davis Raiders.
Yes, sir.
Al Davis Raiders
Yeah,
is
with the
very
swords
solid.
in his mouth. Yes, 100%.
Thank you, Troy.
I thought the Mets definitely were going to make it from somebody. I knew
you
not
gotta,
from you,
gotta
Will.
win something in my lifetime to be it. I'm just kidding. Mets have a great logo.
I knew. And
Mets have a very creative logo.
paging Selly in 3, 2, 1. Who's him and Tehran.
That's right.
Yeah, the Mets is solid, too. I got to give it to him. That's a very solid
they're
logo.
fine.
That's solid, Will. We got to give it to him. Classic,
They're
too.
fine. Bobby up next. Hey, Bobby.
I bet.
Yeah, good morning, guys. I got a couple of them.
Okay.
What about the Braves Tomahawk?
Braves Tomahawk is right up there. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm
And
with you.
I'm not a fan of this one, but it is iconic. The UNC Tar Heel.
Yes,
recognizable
sir.
So
anywhere.
there. Yep.
You best believe.
Good pick.
Even the foot with the
Good pick.
with the tar on it is solid too. I love that one.
Thank you, Bobby.
And Ramon, I got to rag on you about one.
Who?
The Dallas Star is not an emblem; it's a rating.
Is that what it is?
Guys, have a good day.
That's what it
Thank you, Bobby.
is.
Appreciate the
Not
call.
an emblem, it's a rating.
Okay.
I feel you on that one, man. That's the reason I
And the
didn't
rating
pick
is usually bad.
it. Is usually pretty bad.
Slay in the chat says Dodgers and Raiders definitely make it for the culture. I would agree.
I'm gonna be real. Troy dropping
Both of
that
them are great.
Al Davis Raiders one.
Yeah, I'm surprised I didn't make the list.
That takes me back.
None
to
of us had bad picks. Sometimes one of us will make a pick that I'm like, I do not see that one at all.
Yeah.
I think we did good on this
I
one.
thought we did pretty solid.
We did
too.
well. Tommy up next. Best logos in sports. What's up, Tommy?
I got one y'all missed, which was the Washington Redskins, the classic Redskins logo.
Yeah, that one definitely
Thank you,
is in the
Tommy.
conversation. They did the throwbacks without the logo, everything that was on it too. They got as close as they could to the sun without burning themselves on that one. Yes, most definitely.
Don't get us canceled, Tommy.
Yeah, Tommy, don't get us canceled. I can't say the R word as much. I know you.
I'm good. I'm good on that
I
one
get
now.
it. I get it.
I'm good on that one now.
Yeah, we're not gonna play that one.
I did get a text submission of one we missed.
Who?
That is a great call. The old Milwaukee Brewers with the M and the B in the baseball glove.
That was on my list. I almost
that is a great
I went back and
one.
forth on so many.
Great one.
I forgot. There was a submission that I put on Twitter. I don't know if you saw it, Will. I quote tweeted you earlier, which was the Toronto Raptors' new logo.
His was good. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Yeah.
It was like somebody kid drew it.
Oh, yes, I did see that, actually. Yes, it looks like Microsoft Paint.
Yeah, it does.
Looks like I made it at recess.
That should have been 101
art class.
Yes, it does, man.
Oh, man, what else did we miss? I mean, Brewers
I'm
have
looking
had some
through.
great ones. Somebody said the Nashville Cats logo
I did see that one come through.
with the cat
yeah.
on top of it. Iconic.
I like the
Iconic
Dirty
locally.
Bird.
Dirty Bird.
Dirty Bird.
Falcons.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, old school Deion Sanders era Falcons one. Very solid.
I got another one.
Hit me.
Starter jacket era Charlotte Hornets
Oh, yeah.
with the B.
Charlotte Hornets is a great show.
Well, I mean, with the Hornets, yes, 100%. This fancy,
yep.
clean cut one they got,
Yep.
don't like that one.
Other one I was going to do was old Baltimore Orioles with the happy bird wearing the hat.
Yes, sir.
Another solid one.
100%. Savage in our group chat said, too, the Kings.
Yeah, oh, yeah, sure.
Kings is another one that's
Heck,
real
L.A.
solid.
or Sacramento.
Yeah, that's what I'm
L.A.
saying.
Kings in hockey or Sacramento.
Absolutely.
Edmonton Oilers up there, too, with the
Seattle-
drop of oil in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Seattle Supersonics.
Yeah, R.I.P. NBA champion Supersonics. Congratulations. Just in another city.
Seriously. Any new franchise? Carolina, Texans, Jags.
Texans.
Any of those did
The
good?
Jags unnecessarily changed theirs.
They did.
They changed the head of the Jaguar a little bit.
Yeah. Any of the new ones make the cut? Or they're just fine.
It's a good question.
You know what I'm saying? 'Cause, like,
new logos. I mean, I can't really think of that many new ones. One we didn't get to also, Miami Heat of the basketball.
Yep. That's a solid
ECU Pirate logo. Solid. Bird just walked in the
Bird
studio. So ECU does have a good logo.
one. Yeah, no doubt.
Coastal Carolina, the real best logo.
As much as I hate them, I like the new version of their logo better than the old one. I like the Ravens one. The new Blackbird, with the wings out. I like that one.
Yeah, facing the head on.
Yeah,
solid.
I do like that one.
I can't get behind anything positive Ravens talk, but I'll leave that to you. Back at it tomorrow morning for your Friday. We will have Brent Hubbs at 7:20 talking Vols. I believe we have Ron Slay. Question mark?
We always got
back at it.
Unless he's on
the last Friday before they head to SEC Media Days. We got through our Friday Junior. We'll get to a Friday for you coming up tomorrow morning. Looking forward to it.
You best believe it. Good people, remember at all times, your Twitter fingers and your mic is always hot.